First. Junior, number 5, Abby Wright. Senior, number 14, Michaela Sharrow. Junior, number 15, Anna Kemp. And junior, number 21, Naomi Collins. The running is coached by Mr. Reese Stepke. Now, the starting lineup for your Gaylord Blue. Senior, number 3, Alexis Kozlowski. Senior, number 4, Megan Key. Junior, number 31, Alexis Shepard. Junior, number 34, Avery Parker. And junior, number 35, Haley Lagarowitz. Love their coach by Mrs. Kelly Parker. Megan Key.
One. Yeah, third one tonight for the Raiders.
And now number 23, Taylor.
Oh, way
Lagerberg.
too easy.
Yep.
Nobody had her on the baseline. I could have made that shot over there. There wasn't a Raider there within 10 feet of her. So defensive lapse by Charlevoix.
Let's see. Raiders are able to get it. Apologize there.
Yeah, it was a good basket by
Abby right there. Yep. I was just looking down trying to update the score. I lost my scoreboard here.
12-6 Gaylord.
Yeah, 12-6 Gaylord, but I don't have it here on our
right with a rebound.
Yeah.
They're going to need her. She's got the size to compete with Gaylord. Again, double teaming the ball pays off.
Keene comes away with it. No shot there, but they'll keep possession. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll get that scoreboard updated for you as soon as I can. I have a little bit of technical difficulty here, so we'll read off the score to you as it gets updated. Right now it's 12-6, 2 minutes and 1 second to go here in the first quarter.
Well, Cheryl saved a bucket there. Lucky she didn't pick up a foul. We are way up here, folks. I almost need binoculars for the far side of the court.
I do need binoculars. I tell you what, as Gaylord goes and puts it up, no good there. A mess ensues between Charlevoix and Gaylord. Jump ball situation. Gaylord retains it. Yeah, those yellow numbers on white jerseys
kind of hard to see.
Spot. Yeah, from up here.
Boy, I tell you that Megan Keene, a senior for Gaylord, is a player. She's a big gal, moves well with or without the ball, not afraid to put it up, not afraid to drive the lane,
and
not afraid to score.
Yeah, she puts 2 more up there, bringing her tally to 6 so far on the evening. A young one, that is. We're not even a quarter of the way through the game. The score is now 14-6 Gaylord over Charlevoix. Gaylord providing to be everything that Charlevoix can handle at the moment, both defensively and offensively. And we got another travel called on Charlevoix. I've never seen this. This is now the 4th travel call.
In the first quarter.
In the first quarter, yep. This was like our foul trouble of Keeley's heel back on our first game against Leland.
Well, for Charlevoix to even be in this game, they got to really reduce the turnovers, and so far that's not happening.
Gaylord puts it up one more time. No good. That was by Magenberg once again.
It could be worse, but Gaylord's a little cold from the floor. They haven't had any success from the longer jump shots and three-point tries, which is a good thing for Charlevoix. Otherwise, it'd be looking pretty ugly. Bad pass in by Eaton. Turnover. Again, we talked about those are going to kill you tonight if you're Charlevoix.
Lagerberg works it over to Keene. She puts it up. No good. And Charlevoix comes away with it. The refs weren't quite sure what was going on there. Nor were the girls. Cheryl passes over to Ava Boss. She'll put up her first 2 points of the evening. Of the season for her.
Nice pass, nice basket. 14-8, closing in on the end of this first quarter here over in Gaylord.
And no good there by Keene one more time. Cheryl comes back across half court with the rock for the Raiders. Eaton passes over to Boss, gets it taken away by Wangler.
Again, those lazy passes in the paint are not going to work.
They might do it for a small Class C school, but not against a Class A talent like Gaylord is proving to be so far in this game. Keene over to number 31, Alexis Shepard. She wasn't able to get that one to fall in. Eaton comes away with it, passes it up to Cheryl.
Better take the shot. 2 seconds left. Take it up.
And no good by Eaton. So with that, after one fast-paced quarter of play, lots of turnovers on both sides of the ball, the score is 14-8 Gaylord over Charlevoix.
I think what's kept this from being a total blowout is Gaylord's been a little cool from the floor. Not that they haven't had the looks. They just have not been able to buy a jump shot.
Yeah, so far, Dennis, the Blue Devils haven't really been able to find their rhythm offensively. And I think a little bit of that is, the defense of the Raiders. But I think, the first quarter jitters sometimes. You still scored, 19 points in the first quarter. Gotta like the results of being able to get out in transition and get easy baskets and also cause turnovers. So I think the main story so far has been the turnovers that the Blue Devils have been able to cause and push the Raiders into. So I would say, going forward, the big X factor would be, can the Raiders limit those turnovers, and then can the Blue Devils start to, get some more consistent shots going for us on the offensive end.
Yeah, I agree, Charles. I think, again, it'd be, 30-8 if the Gaylord squad had been a little more successful. But one thing I'd say about Charlevoix, they played better defense after the timeout halfway through the first quarter than they did the first half of the first quarter. They blocked out a little better. They were on the ball a little quicker. So that timeout Charlevoix took there real early on did help the Raider defense out. But again, they still got to turn it up a couple notches with another turnover caused by Gaylord coming back the other way. Turnover by Collins.
That one goes all the way into the visiting locker room.
Yeah. That ref kind of wandered in there like probably he should have knocked on the door first.
He made sure to close the door after that. We don't need any incidences going on here.
Not tonight.
Nope.
That looked like a little bit of a carry there maybe. Gaylord puts it up again.
Just short. That was by Wangler. And Sherrill comes away with it for the Raiders. Quick jumper, no good. Nearly gets her own rebound. Gaylord does, in fact, come away with it. That's Parker once again.
Yeah, Avery Parker's another horse there. I mean, she's a wide body, big gal. Knows what to do again with the ball. Drives towards the hoop.
Eaton was able to come away with it. Knocked away, though, by Gaylord. So Parker will have another chance to score and puts up 3.
Yeah, she's a real deal, Avery Parker. Just a junior.
So that puts up Gaylord 17-8 over Charlevoix. 6 minutes, 50 seconds to go. A long shot there by Wright. Falls away, no good. We've got a foul.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head there, Shane. You mentioned, Class C, small Class C Charlevoix, obviously used to a little slower tempo than they're seeing here tonight. Gaylord is on those rebounds on both ends so quick and taking those passes and double teaming the ball so quick. Charlevoix has not seen that quickness in the first 2 games we've played. So, again, that big difference between a C school and an A school, very apparent here in the first half.
That was number 22, Kennedy Wangler, put the shot up. It was no good. She's got it currently going around the top of the arc. And Boss nearly knocked it away. Gaylord just trying to get a little bit of penetration going in for the Raiders. This time Parker puts it up again, just short. Boss comes away with it.
But look again how they double-teamed the ball so quick. Now she's in trouble. Luckily drew the foul, but they got her over in that corner. She needs some help. Anybody bringing that ball back up, just got to assume that within a half a second you're going to have 2 Blue Devils right on your front and back.
So that foul is against number 24, Carly Pritzliff. That was her first team's 3rd so far this half. The foul by Charlevoix a moment ago was against Ava Boss. That's her first team's first tonight. Collins puts up a 3, no good. Gaylord comes away with it.
That was back there. That was a 3.5-point shot. That was 3-4 feet beyond the 3-point arc.
Kennedy Wangler has it for the Blue Devils. Top of the arc, passes it over now to her, I'm guessing, sister. We're going to call it that, Edison Wangler. We've been known to or at least I've been known to miscall sisters and
not
cousins
this year
before.
yet.
No, not this year. Wangler puts it up. That was Kennedy.
First 3 for Gaylord.
Yep, the junior. That'll put 3 points up on her tally. Score is now 20-8.
Charlevoix needs a score. Oh, so bad.
Wright passes it up to Collins, trying to get something to go in. So Wright, this time she'll put it up for a 3, falls away, and we've got a foul.
Over the back there by Collins. Boy, I'm really impressed with a couple of the Gaylord players. Again, that 34 Avery Parker is just a great basketball player.
So that'll give Bayani Collins her first foul of the night, team's 2nd. Avery Parker, the stalwart for the Gaylord Blue Devils so far, just has 1 foul. As they try and work it around. Now back to the top of the arc. That's Keene. She was up there and gets the bucket.
She was double teamed there when she had the ball down below, and then she just kind of split those 2 defenders just way too easy. But I don't know what you do with her. She's a handful.
Charlevoix, a bit of a do-or-die time at the moment. Down 22 to 8, 4.5 minutes to go before the half expires. And Gaylord has a foul drawn on them.
Charlevoix hasn't scored in, have they scored here in the second quarter?
No, it's been a full 4.5 minutes since they've last scored. And that foul is against number 24 for Gaylord. Carly Pretzliff, that's her second. Team's fourth so far this evening.
You know, they can substitute that Keene in that Parker like that. That's just tough. That's tough. There is no reduction in talent there on that substitution whatsoever.
So Charlevoix is currently 0 for 6 on free throw opportunities. So that's not exactly helping their case either. As Cheryl has it at the baseline looking for somebody to pass to. A high one goes to Kemp. Nearly loses it there at the corner. And we've got another travel call.
I think the defense is so tough for Gaylord that Charlevoix girls just are somewhat flummoxed over what to do with the ball. That's probably what, I'm not counting, but I would guess the 6th traveling.
I'd have to say 5th or 6th. Yeah, it's been a mess.
Megan Keene.
Yep, once again, 2 more points up there on the board. She's got 8 points now this evening. And we've got a timeout called, so we're going to bring Charles back in.
I use the word flummoxed.
You got to give me some context there, Dennis.
The Charlevoix right now offensively, they are not used to the speed, the tempo of this game.
I would definitely say the speed that the Blue Devils have out there, along with the length. If you look at the length and athleticism that the Blue Devils can put on the court, with any given combination of girls out there, definitely having a hard time trying to penetrate the defense. One thing that really necessarily hasn't translated into points directly, though, a lot of Charlevoix's turnovers have been travels. When that's the case, it forces the Blue Devils to take the ball out of bounds. But it's a dangerous slope because if the Blue Devils can continue to force those turnovers, some of them are going to start being steals, which can obviously be turned right into layups.
The other thing I'm totally impressed on is that Keene-Parker combination.
Exactly, and that's what we talked about in pregame. They're going to do the bulk of the lifting for the Blue Devils.
All righty, thank you, Charles. The lifting they have done out of the 24 points so far, they have a combined 16. Rozier wanted that opportunity for a 3, didn't get it. Collins puts it up just short. And 44, Addison Wangler able to come away with it for the Blue Devils.
Again, Collins just looking at the ball. She's got to, again, that ball's not going to come to you. You got to go to the ball.
Megan Keene forces her way up and in for 2 more points, bringing her tally to 10 now. 26 to 8, 3 minutes and a half to go here in the first half. Rozier passes over to Cheryl. Now Kemp working it over, back to Collins. A little bit of a misdirection there. Kemp back over to right. She'll put up for a long 2, no good. Keene has it.
Gaylord continually has position underneath the boards, and you got to start knocking them around, getting them out of there. They're camping down there. Good rebound by Charlevoix. Foul on Gaylord.
That's number 31, Alexis Shepard. Her first, team's 5th this half. Number 22, Kennedy Wangler, and 23, Taylor Moggenberg come back in for the Blue Devils. We're just under 3 minutes to go before the end of the half. Cheryl just wanted to put it up, couldn't. Kemp has it now, tries to get into that paint, met up by Stiff. Oh my goodness, another turnover by Charlevoix.
Again, kind of the cousin of traveling, which is carrying the ball.
Yep.
Again, the defense is just so efficient against Charlevoix. They're really having trouble moving it around on the floor.
Kozlowski passes it over now. Excuse me. And number 30.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't see a carry
no.
once every 3 games, and we saw 2 of them in 5 seconds. Again, the boys varsity coming up after this one. First game for Charlevoix. I don't know if was going to ask Charles if this is Gaylord's boys' first game tonight as well. We'll have to ask him that when he comes back over here from his easy chair over in the corner.
And Rozier puts in 3 of her own, right back to her old form last game. She had 4 3-pointers of her own last week.
Right in a row.
Yep, right in a row. Gaylord has it, no good there.
Yeah, gets the rebound. She kind of was an air fryer last week, not microwave. She got hot in a hurry.
Sure, now she'll try a 3 of her own, just a hair short.
Well, that's the way you move without the ball. That's what you got to do. Good things happen.
And we've got a foul against Haley Lenardowitz. That's her first team 6 so far this game.
I think that was Ava Boss that drove to the backboard there.
It was,
At that time, Gaylord was standing around watching it, but not Ava. She drew the foul.
So right in rare form, this is a free throw opportunity of which the Raiders need every single one that they can get, as they're still down 26-11, minute 54 here in the first half. She does get one.
1 out of 2. Got to start somewhere.
Right.
26-12, Gaylord. Closing in on the end of the first half.
Wright is so far the highest score of the night for the Raiders at 5 points.
That was nice form. Didn't
Nice
go
form.
in.
Nope.
Guess who got the rebound?
That was Keene. Number 22 there was Kennedy Wangler for the shot.
Gonna drive the baseline.
Nope.
Some sort of turnover, right? With travel or carrying. Couldn't see over there.
Number 2, Macy McEwen, and 13, Carly Eaton come back in for the Raiders now. As Eaton gets it back over to Boss at the moment, at the top of the arc, back over to Eaton. Rozier, now to McEwen. Back over to Rozier, we need a 3 here. Right, and we have a travel. That's even unlike Wright to have a travel. I don't know about that. My goodness, for as confident she is handling that ball and as good as she's been this season so far and even last season, she's right up there with the likes of Petrosky. That just seems so unlike her to have a travel.
Yeah, and I didn't see it. Of course,
No.
it was at the far end of the court. And I don't have my 50X binoculars with me tonight, but I did not see that travel.
Carly Eaton tries to come away with a steal, and instead, foul's called.
Picked up the foul. Going to be on
It's 22.
against Gaylord. 22. Kennedy Wangler got the foul.
So that's her first team 7th this half. Carly Eaton up for the Raiders for the 1-1. First one, no good. Cheryl comes away with it. Now Eaton's got it back once again. McEwen puts up a 3, and it's good.
Needed that.
So that brings the score 26-15. The Raiders are the closest they've been in just about 5 minutes of gameplay. Moggenberg puts it up, and that one falls in.
Yeah, she's not afraid to put it up from out there.
No. Score back to a 14-point differential, 29-15, winding under 30 seconds now. As Boss passes it over to Rozier.
That's a gut buster. You know, Charlevoix making a little run on Gaylord.
Right,
oh, my gracious.
3 straight threes from the Raiders here in their last 3 possessions. 29-18 is the score, under 10 seconds.
It's turned into a 3-point shootout, fellas.
Oh, my
goodness, Gaylord.
Man.
And as time expires, Haley Lenardowitz puts up 3 of her own, bringing the final score of this half, 32-18. Gaylord up over Charlevoix.
Turn on the air conditioner. It got hot in here all of a sudden.
3 straight 3-pointers from both sides. That's some of the most dramatic play I've seen so far this season.
Yeah, you know, we talked about, though, the gut buster. The last thing you want to do, especially when you're behind, is see your opponent in the last seconds of the first half, you know, make a 3-pointer that you had a little bit of good stuff going on and feeling maybe a little good about the team and where you were going, and then boom, gut shot.
Yeah. So to end your half with scoring so far, for Charlevoix, your top scorer is Abby Wright with 8, followed by Rozier McEwen, both with 3, Boss and Kemp with 2 apiece. And for Gaylord, we've got Megan Keene with 10 Cool, 10 points so far. Avery Parker with 8. Taylor Moggenberg with 3. Leonardowitz and Wangler both with 3 apiece. And Alexis Sharpard with 2 contributing so far.
Well, again, we made mention during that first half, Gaylord, big Class A school, first time that Charlevoix has been in the deep water against a Class A school, and you could definitely tell that they weren't used to the tempo.
Yeah, I would say definitely the tempo has been something that the Raiders have struggled with. But in terms of, being able to shoot themselves back into this game, kind of after that three-point shooting performance, you feel comfortable that both teams are able to make shots here. I think the difference in the game has been the offensive rebounds and the turnovers so far that Gaylord has been able to force and have turned the Raiders over, got some touchdowns off of those turnovers, as I like to say, turnovers for touchdowns, and some of those easy points. And if the Raiders clean up those travels, if the Blue Devils clean up, some of those shots that they're missing right around the basket, without those two things, I think this would be a really well-played first half of girls basketball for only being, 3 games into a young season. It was a pretty clean half aside from those early turnovers.
Yeah, if I was Charlevoix's head coach going in the locker room right now, I don't know whether I would have the key to solve that Parker-Keene combination. That is something you won't see very often. We made mention, no matter which one's on the floor at the same time, there is absolutely no reduction in skill set. Both those girls are the real deal players, and Charlevoix probably will not run into a couple of players like that for the rest of the season.
Well, I tell you what, if it's not those two, Gaylord has a total of 6 scorers so far. So if it's not those two, they've got plenty of supporters coming in, the likes of which, once again, Charlevoix hasn't seen. And to be honest, besides the turnovers that Charlevoix's had, this has been a relatively good half for them. The last 2 games, they've scored right around 20 points per half. So this hasn't been bad for them. It's just a completely different animal when coming up to a Class A school and meeting the defense that Gaylord has, able to wrangle that ball away from them or force them to travel or carry the ball. I mean, that's something we haven't seen this season so far from Charlevoix, and not once last season did I see close to a dozen turnovers in one half.
Yeah, again, I think that speaks to the game speed and the game skills that the opponent here tonight, Gaylord, possesses. Again, they were double and triple teaming the inbounds pass for Charlevoix, which had Charlevoix just had, totally caught them off guard. And you're having there until that first timeout, which I think was so timely there in the first quarter by Charlevoix. Charlevoix just did not know how to react to a few things that Gaylord was throwing at them. Number one, double, triple team on the inbounds pass on the offensive end. And also, Charlevoix started out, we're not blocking Gaylord out. Yeah. Gaylord was able to drive the hoop. Gaylord was able to get in there on the boards and get the rebounds. That timeout happened, and Charlevoix did get better at it and wasn't allowing the easy baskets that they were allowing the first part of the first quarter. So I think we did see some improvement. But again, I just don't know what you'd say about trying to stop the size, strength, and speed that we've seen here with the Gaylord.
Yeah, well, one thing that I do want to add to that is for everybody listening who might not know, but the Gaylord Blue Devils were a team that contended for a Big North Conference championship last year, and actually were in first place of the championship race up until like the last week of the season, where they had a couple tough, critical losses that kind of threw them off track, and then had a tough loss in the district finals of the Class A district up here. They lost, ended up losing to Traverse City West. But they return a lot of the starters from that team, and as you can see, the core nucleus being Keene, Parker, and their ability to get inside but also score inside and out. We saw the Blue Devils knock down some three-point shots once they got that inside game established. They went inside a couple times early to Keene and Parker, each of them making a litany of post moves, whether it's drop step, turnaround, hook shot, or a fake hook shot come through with a step through up and under. The ability to have a counter move for that on the inside, playing on the block, but also the ability to stretch the defense and make some threes in half-court offense. And then what you can't do if you're the Raiders is give a team like that has that type of offensive proficiency easy baskets. And when you give someone easy baskets, it's real easy to turn a steal into a layup or a transition opportunity when you turn the ball over in semi-transition on your own offensive set, or even if you're not ready to play defense or locked into your defensive matchups. And I think that's what head coach Reese Kepsky's probably going to say at halftime. He's going to tell his girls, hey, we got to lock into our matchups. We got to know where we're at defensively, call out our marks. I would say for head coach Avery Parker of the Blue Devils, she's looking to get some more consistency out of her offensive sets. When Gaylord runs sets crisply, they're getting really, really good looks and attempts at the basket. I think that's so far really the only thing that she might be upset about, as the Blue Devils are up 13-18 at halftime, and maybe doing a little bit better job on the defensive glass. I think Charlevoix has quite a few offensive rebounds, and that's been where they've been able to get to the free throw line because of those offensive rebounds, whether it was Boss cleaning up a couple offensive rebounds or Wright as well. So each team got some things that they can improve on in the second half.
Yeah, I think the big difference there for Gaylord between the first quarter and the second quarter is the first quarter Gaylord was cold. They weren't hitting many of their jump shots nor their threes, and that kind of kept it a little closer. But then the second quarter, they kind of found themselves from those jump shots and those threes, which kind of gave them some distance on the scoreboard at that point, which led to the 32-18 lead. But, yeah, they're the real deal. I'm pretty impressed with them. They play in again, totally different conference where they're playing the Traverse City teams as part of, who they do play. And, again, Charlevoix obviously not. So I think it might be a little bit of a learning opportunity here for Charlevoix tonight on what that next level or two up might look like.
Yeah, well, Charlevoix needs all the lessons that they can get from this game, because they have a series up in the UP coming up during Christmas break. I believe it's the 27th to 28th. They'll be up in Marquette and Negaunee, two big schools in the UP. Negaunee, I know, has always been a tough thorn in Charlevoix's side, no matter if it's basketball, football. This might be one of the first meetings in program history for Marquette, so it'll be interesting to see as well how they can fare against a Class A team like this and then go and compete against up in the UP. But one thing I do want to make mention about is Charlevoix's had lots of opportunities at the free throw line. Gaylord had, I believe, 8 fouls or so, 7 or 8 fouls in this past half. But one thing that's really uncharacteristic of them was they were not able to score many of those at all. I think they had 7 or 8 chances to get extra points on the board, and they only made 2 of those. So that's another big reason why Charlevoix is in such a deficit right now, 14 points, 32-18. They have not been able to capitalize on their free throws that they normally do.
Yeah, and as you say that, Shane, we're going to step aside here, come back. When we come back, we'll have our thoughts toward the second half. We're going to step aside. This has been the Gaylord Eye Care halftime show presented by the Gaylord Eye Care. We're going to step aside. When we come back, third quarter action from Gaylord High School, Raiders at Blue Devils. Right out.
Vision Source and Gaylord Eye Care are proud to be offering their services to local communities across northern Michigan. With locations in Gaylord, Point City, Bel Air, and Sheboygan, they're committed to serving you and providing a trusted source of credentials and expertise. If you're struggling with anything vision related, then don't hesitate to schedule a consultation and meet their friendly and experienced staff for yourself.
Johnson's Propane is Northern Michigan's #1 propane supplier. We have achieved our success through dedication to our customer service and giving back to our community. And now we have decided to make our biggest contribution to our community yet. A portion of our proceeds will be given to the Munson Healthcare Otsego Memorial Hospital to help fund the new emergency department. So when you choose Johnson's Propane, you also choose Northern Michigan. Call our office or visit us online to become a new customer today.
Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, just about ready to come out of this halftime break. As time winds down under 30 seconds. The Gaylord Blue Devils are up over the Charlevoix Raiders 32-18. And just as Charles mentioned a couple moments ago, Dennis, what are some final thoughts we have before we go into the second half?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how you attack a team that's got so much talent on it, are bigger than you are, at home, early in the season, being able to score, drive to the basket pretty much as they want to. I think Charlevoix is in for a pretty big challenge. Just got to, reach down into your socks, tighten your shoes up a little more, and just make this a learning experience and play for your Raider pride.
So Avery Parker came out shooting right away for the Blue Devils, wasn't able to connect, and Charlevoix has it now with Sherrill at the top of the arc, taking their time. Right, passing over to Boss, just trying to get some momentum gain here, down 14, 32-18 is the score. Capshaw working in, didn't like that jumper, and gets the travel. Yep.
Yeah, that defense, you know, that dribbling against that defense is extremely difficult to do, and typically will result in a turnover like it just did. You got to pass that ball around quick, hope to catch Gaylord sleeping a little bit like they did just like that.
Sherrill able to come away with the steal for the Raiders, gets it knocked out of her possession by Alexis Shepard. Charlevoix will keep it, though, and try and make use of their rare turnover opportunity that they gained so far in this game.
The other thing I think you see is a significant difference is the physicality that Gaylord brings to the game. Something, again, you don't typically see in a C school, but Gaylord is relentless.
Oh, man.
In their defense and just, you know, not giving you any space, and a lot of that we're seeing. The result of that is a lot of the turnovers by Charlevoix.
Right, tried to put one up there, went around the world and out, and Keene came away with a big steal from Charlevoix after she regained it. And now we've got a foul. We'll see who it is against
Charlevoix, I think.
Charlevoix. Yep, that'll be against number 5, Abby Wright.
Ain't he right?
Her first, team's first. Keene passing it over to Kozlowski now. Keene has it back at the top of the arc. Gets rid of it. Gaylord trying to get something going against Charlevoix. The defense seems to be proving themselves a little bit better so far in the opening minutes of this half. Number 3, Kozlowski puts it up, no good. Collins has it, met against 3 ladies.
Attaway, get
and
the
now
ball
Rozier
out.
has it, working over. Gets it off to Collins. She's open for a 3. No good, just short. Bats over to Sherrill, and she'll put up 2.
Again, Sherrill showing a lot of energy there, has some space, made it count.
Scores now 32-20. Raiders back to 12-point difference. 5 minutes, 53 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Pass over to Kozlowski. Didn't like that opportunity. And now Keene has it, working into the paint, puts it up.
Oh,
man.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
I apologize.
Yeah, that might make Sports Center's top 10 right there, Dennis. That was a nice little left-handed scoop shot from Parker, driving left all the way, and it takes a skilled player to make that.
Collins with the block shot there. Gaylord comes away with it. Wright looking like she was expecting a foul call. No such call indeed. The layup comes short from Gaylord. Sherrill comes away with it.
Oh, well, that hurts.
Yeah, errant pass up there. Wright wasn't able to get a hold of it. Gaylord gets another free opportunity to try and score.
Well, this is our third game, and one conclusion I'm kind of pondering, looking towards the rest of the season. I'm going to say so far that as Sherrill goes, so goes Charlevoix. I think we saw that between the St. Ignace and the Leland game, as she had 2 very different games, game number 1 and game number 2, which were very apparent to me anyway. So I think going out, you can keep your eye on Sherrill and how she's able to, use her skills, which she possesses quite a few, but she brings an energy to the floor that I think the other 4 people out there with her feed off of.
And that foul for Charlevoix was against number 21 Collins, her team second so far this half.
Yeah, and you saw Gaylord right there run a really nice little duck-in play for Keene. Parker was able to find her in the middle of the paint about 8 feet from the basket, and Keene went up with it strong, got rewarded with 1 free throw, got 1 to go, but really good offensive execution there for the Blue Devils.
So that leaves Keene so far with 11 points on the evening. Sherrill gets it over to Kemp. Now back to Sherrill at the top of the arc.
She's thinking about it.
Oh, man. At this point in the game, it's not so much think you kind of have to start doing as Wright does.
Oh, that was a tough shot.
Man.
That was right over Megan Keene. That could be another dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, because she was being guarded by one of the Gaylord's best players and nothing but net.
Missed 3 there by Gaylord. Rozier able to come away with it. Wright now has 11 points on the evening. 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And Sherrill stares down, breaks away, gets it back over to Boss. She nearly loses it, and we've got another travel.
Yeah, she didn't have that ball right from the get-go.
No.
Yeah, stop me if you heard it before, fellas, but we've got to travel.
Oh, geez, yeah. We haven't seen travel all night, Charles. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's at least 10 or 11 travel calls.
We've got a timeout taken by head coach Avery Parker. That's going to allow us to thank one of our primary sponsors for tonight's game. That's the Gaylord Eye Care Center. Listen, the Gaylord Eye Care Center wants to keep you and everyone you know at the top of your game. Head on over to the Gaylord Eye Center, and they'll get you fitted, tested for glasses, contacts, vision check, whatever you need to stay on the road or on the court. The Gaylord Eye Care Center wants to help you do that. With 4 locations in Gaylord, Sheboygan, Bel Air, and in Boyne City. That's the Gaylord Eye Care Center. Also want to thank our friends at Bingham Insurance. Bingham Insurance, located over in Charlevoix. Listen, running a business, it can be tough, but Bingham Insurance wants to help keep you covered from the unexpected from happening. That's Bingham Insurance, a locally owned and operated auto owners affiliate. The Bingham Insurance Company in Charlevoix, as the Raiders are getting set to, or Blue Devils getting set to inbound here, looking to see what they drew up after that timeout play for an offensive set.
I could use some help from the Gaylord Eye Center, i.e. telescopic glasses.
Dennis, you would not be the only one here tonight, that's for sure.
We're so far up here that I saw a flock of geese fly by at eye level. That's how far, folks, we are up here in Gaylord. And so if you see us I'm glad the old guy is not having trouble seeing, that the younger guy is also a little bit challenged here tonight.
Well, the first free throw for Keene is good, and impressed with the outer timeout play that the Blue Devils ran there. They had, I believe it was Parker bringing the ball down, just had Keene go to that low block where she wanted to get position, threw it to her, and got back to the free throw line. Nice board by Parker.
So with that, Gaylord up 36-23 over the Raiders.
When Parker and Keene are in there at the same time, that's quite a deadly duo right there.
Another errant pass by the Raiders, this time from Boss over the head of Wright. So Gaylord comes back away with it now as Parker works the ball over to Shepard. Now back to...
See how quick they move the ball around, in and out,
oh my
side
God.
to side.
Shepard puts it up. Gets a lucky bounce.
She got the
and
bounce
she'll
there.
get 3 points.
That was a Gaylord Blue Devil bounce right there.
I guess so. I was ready to call it no good, move on, but it listened to me and decided to fall back in anyway. Oh my goodness. A bump away there. Wright loses it. And Keene puts it up for 2 more.
Well, Wright got taken to school there. You can't flash that ball around in front of a Gaylord defender like that and then expect to go away with it.
That's just an experienced player saying, if you're going to put the ball, I'm just going to take it.
Yeah,
and
just hand it to me.
What Keene did.
Might as well put a Christmas wrapper on it because you just gave me a present.
Sherrill with a beautiful pass to cap the three-pointer, falls away, and Gaylord will get it back. 2 minutes, 47 seconds to go here in the third. Gaylord up 41-23 over what is a struggling Raider offense and defense at the moment.
Well, back in my high school days, my coach, he always said, keep your body between the defender and the basketball. Take care of the rock. Take care of the rock.
So Gaylord so far going on a 9-5 run over Charlevoix. Has 23, Taylor Moggenberg has the ball at the moment. She works into the paint. Back over to Parker. And this time the shot is no good. Collins picks it up under the basket.
Bad
Goodness.
decision right there. Lucky they got saved, I think. Again, you have to be aware that Gaylord's going to collapse on the ball before you can get it down there. You just cannot. You just got to just assume that that's going to happen.
So that'll be Anna Kemp's second foul of the night. Team's third so far this half. Another shot put up by Gaylord. That one falls just short, back into the hands of Sherrill. Raiders, if they want hopes of staying in this game, have to start making some points now. Eaton passes over to Collins, nearly loses it, back over to Kemp. She's got it at the top of the arc at the moment. Now over to Sherrill.
Charlevoix's got
and loses it. And travel, Gaylord, lucky break for the Raiders there.
Well, the refs definitely have a quick travel whistle tonight, and that's going for both sides.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
You know, the Blue Devils and the Raiders. It's a quick whistle on the travel tonight.
Certainly not letting a whole lot of play go on, that's for sure. They're They've got their eyes checked by Gaylord Eye Center, no doubt about that.
That's right.
They got the traveling glasses.
Need to get like a Route 66. Well, we do have the Johnson Oil Company who sponsored tonight's game as well. So the traveling company there. It's a little bit of a stretch with the petroleum link, but I'm going to make it.
I'll work with you on it, Charles. That works for me.
Well, it didn't work for Collins there. She misses her first free throw opportunity. Once again, the Raiders have only made 2 of now 9 shots at the free throw line. Make that 3 of 9 as Collins gets her first up there.
Or 3 of 10, no matter how you do the math. That was a little basketball humor.
Yeah. I know. All right. Oh, hey, look at that. Charlevoix gets a steal. Eaton with the ball there, gets it over to Kemp now. Collins under the
tough
basket.
In there.
Oh,
that is tough.
Mockenberg was all over on that one.
She didn't give up on the ball, did she?
Another steal, and
drew the foul.
Collins, gets that foul.
So a little bit of a bailout there. Oftentimes, your head coach is going to teach you not to, not to try and get that steal off of a rebound and just get back on defense. That time for Collins, she was able to avoid getting the reach-in foul on the rebound and got rewarded for a trip to a free throw line. And honestly, I think it was more of just like a frustration play where she was upset that she missed that first one and wanted to get the ball back and get back to the free throw line.
Yeah, Gaylord was not expecting a contested rebound right there. Collins kind of threw a little curve ball there and went away with a point or two.
So Collins in the last 2 free throw opportunities has put up the Raiders' only 3 points so far in the last 4 minutes of gameplay and has held Gaylord scoreless here in the last about 2.5 minutes. The score is now 41-26 with a minute 19 to go here in the third.
Yeah, this quarter coming in, it was a 14-point advantage for the Blue Devils, and they're only 1 point up on the Raiders in the third quarter, so a fairly evenly played third quarter so far. What's that, a carrying foul, offensive foul.
That was on 23, Taylor Mogenberg, her first team's.
So far, Shane, the foul situation for each team, how is that looking?
Well, so far, not too bad. Both teams have 2 players with 2 fouls apiece. But other than that, no trouble. Alexis Kozlowski and Carly Pretzliff are the only 2 players with 2 fouls apiece for Gaylord. And Anna Kemp and Bayani Collins for Charlevoix both have 2 apiece. But so far, comparatively to other games we've seen from the Raiders so far this season, low foul count.
Well, tonight, obviously, the soup du jour is the traveling call. It is not the foul call.
No.
Only 7 total fouls here in this third quarter. Total.
And Gaylord comes away with another steal.
Nice interior post defense there by the Blue Devils.
Keen's got it, passes it over to Pretzliff. And no shot there with the foul.
When Keene gets down in the paint just above that circle or half circle arc, they're throwing it in there almost automatically. And, they throw it into her 100% of the time, and she drops over the left shoulder, and she's either making it or getting to the free throw line. That's a tough move to stop.
Yeah, you got to muscle her. You got to have somebody that can fight fire with fire down there underneath. And, Charlevoix, a little bit challenged to do that. And
I don't mean to cut you off, Dennis, but it's just something that, I think when the Raiders watch this tape, they're going to go, wow. She's a real good player, but we got to figure out how to handle post presence like Keene.
Addison Wrangler gets her first 2 points of the night.
I think it boils down to dialing up the bang 'em.
The what now?
Bang 'em. Dial up the bang 'em.
All right. Another term brought to you by Dennis Halverson after this
dial up
season.
the bang 'em.
Yep. We'll have a dictionary to publish for you on Dennis Halverson terms as Raiders able to get the rebound.
You can write that one down if you want to use that later, Shane.
All right, thanks. Time winding down under 5 seconds now. Raiders need to put up something here. Instead, they get a steal and then a jump ball situation. Charlevoix gets it. 1.2 seconds to go here in the third quarter. The score is 44-26.
Is it just me, or is this game moving around? It's been not even an hour. We're almost through with the third quarter, right?
Yeah. Well, just haven't been a whole lot of fouls and free throw opportunities on either side. Just a lot of travel calls, and those don't take up.
Oh, wow!
My goodness, a lot of time.
That was a real dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
The buzzer beater brought to you by Bayani Collins.
That was a 5-point shot. That was way back there. That was halfway between the top of the arc and the halfway line here on this court. That was a heck of a hoist.
Wow. Maybe a little confidence booster here as that brings Charlevoix back to 15
That'd boost
points.
my confidence if I made that. I'd be running home if I made that shot during a game.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run into a quick commercial break and come right back on the other side of this for fourth quarter action.
Business owner, you learn to wear a lot of hats. The custodian hat, the IT hat, and well, the you should have called a professional hat. Auto Owners takes care of your business insurance, so you can take care of everything else. That's simple human sense.
Ask Bingham Insurance Services in Charlevoix if auto owners make sense for you.
Vision Source and Gaylord Eye Care are proud to be offering their services to local communities across northern Michigan. With locations in Gaylord, Point City, Bel Air, and Sheboygan, they're committed to serving you and providing a trusted source of credentials and expertise. If you're struggling with anything vision related, then don't hesitate to schedule a consultation and meet their friendly and experienced staff for yourself.
Fourth quarter action of this girls varsity matchup between Charlevoix and Grayling. Grayling up 44-29, make that 46-29.
Yeah, first time we've talked about Alexis Kozlowski.
Yep, she was able
Nice
to get
little move.
her first 2 points up on the board for the evening. And Charlevoix gets the ball after it being knocked away by Gaylord.
Gaylord, a pretty young team, only carrying 2 seniors, Kozlowski and Keene. The rest are mostly juniors, so pretty young team.
And that time Charlevoix gets the miss up there. Gaylord with a possession arrow.
Even carrying a freshman, Addison McDonald, which we haven't seen here tonight.
And that Carly Pretzliff, which we have called her name, she's got a couple points and fouls so far this evening.
So 2 freshmen making a Class A varsity team. That speaks to obviously some skills and potential that the coach saw to bring them up all the way from typically JV as a freshman all the way to the varsity squad.
The inbound pass knocked away there by Cheryl.
Yeah. I like Cheryl's energy, always have.
There's no give up in her, that's for sure. Even when your team's down, got to do the math here. 17 points. Had to pull out the socks for that one.
Yeah, I saw that. Put them back on. Or put them in your coat.
Yeah. And now Kozlowski's got the ball for, Gaylord. Wrong G team around here.
I love the way Gaylord passes that ball around. Inside, outside.
Charlevoix able to come away with the steal. Cheryl scrapping her way in there. Gets the ball for
Oh, I thought that was another travel.
McEwen puts it up for 3. No good. Charlevoix able to come away with it once again with Bayani Collins.
Pass it out.
Oh, just short. Right once again with the ball. No shot.
Travel.
No travel. Oh, my goodness.
Boy, Charlevoix had their chances there. I'd have maybe kicked that ball back out for an open 3. You're not going to get very far spending a lot of time in the paint with Gaylord.
Kozlowski passes it over to Parker. She's at the top of the arc working against Kep. Now back to Keene. Dangerous spot it is. This time we've got a different 3-point shooter. And Carly Pretzloff, that freshman.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
We just talked about the freshman on the squad, and she sinks the 3.
Yeah, so Carly Pretzloff, younger sister of Brady Pretzloff, who'll be playing for the varsity for the boys tonight. He'll be calling his name off early and often tonight. So family full of athletes there between the Pretzloff brother and sisters, as Carly was able to knock in that 3. Brady Pretzloff, one of the most, probably the most physical athlete that the Raiders will play all season long. So just a little sneak peek preview into the boys game tonight.
So the young sister probably got batted around on the driveway a few times by an older brother.
Yeah, playing in the driveway against her older brother kind of thing. You learned a couple lessons in toughness.
They probably were dialing up the bang 'em up out there on the driveway.
Well, I tell you what, Charlevoix is learning some very important lessons in toughness. Now they're down by their biggest deficit so far this season, 49-29, 6 minutes to go in the game. As Kozlowski at the moment is handling the ball for the Blue Devils.
Oh, way too easy there. Missed a shot.
Cheryl comes away with it, and we have a foul.
There's no quit in Cheryl.
Nope. And that foul was against 24. Carly Pretzlaff, her third.
Looks like she took one in the mouth, but I don't see her any chiclets on the floor, so that's a good sign.
Oh, good old chiclets. That's the team's 5th foul so far this evening. Dennis, you ever seen the, well, hold on, we're going to wait for this as Cheryl gets that steal back from Keene. Have you ever seen the movie Leave It to Beaver with Walter Matthau, Dennis?
I did.
Okay. Remember the scene where Walter Matthau's getting ready to have his picture taken, and all of a sudden he's got a mouthful of chiclets that Beaver put in his mouth. That was one of the funniest moments I've seen, and that's the only reason why I know about chiclets anymore in this day and age is because of that movie right there.
Well, usually you talk about losing your chiclets in a hockey game, but I've seen it occasionally in basketball where someone takes a errant elbow into the facial area.
Yeah.
That's why you see a lot of players wearing a mouth guard even in basketball. Nothing like a sharp elbow coming right to the choppers.
So we come out of this timeout still down 20, 49-29. 5 minutes and just over 30 seconds to go here in the final quarter. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, just as Charles was talking about a few minutes ago, right after this we'll be going into the boys varsity basketball game against Gaylord. Nice doubleheader we have here tonight. And we're on location in Gaylord as Anna Kemp gets 2 more on the board.
Kemp's been pretty quiet here tonight. She had a nice game against Leland.
Yeah. That brings her tally to just 4 points so far in the night. I believe last game she had over 10. This speaks once again to the defensive difficulties that Charlevoix has faced against this Class A tough opponent. Not only Class A school size, but Class A players. I mean, they're great on all sides of the ball. Every single player had something to bring to the table. And it's just difficulty that Charlevoix hasn't met up so far this season.
Well, Charles can correct me if he thinks I'm wrong, but I don't think Charlevoix will see another skill set quite like Gaylord the rest of the season.
The only one I could think of was potentially Marquette, the only other Class A team we've faced this season.
Yeah, Ishpeming, Westwood, Nagani, those folks play basketball, only interrupted briefly by football. Ouch!
Oh, geez. And Cheryl with blatant foul there.
I could have called that one from Elmira.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need your binoculars sitting
No.
up here to call that one. So that'll be her first foul of the night, which is a good sign. She's cleaned up quite significantly over the last couple of games, but that still brings the overall team tally to 6 so far this half.
Get her in the corner. That's where you double team the ball right there in the corner. Somebody should have rushed over there and boxed her back up.
At the moment, Gaylord trying to get something once again worked up against Charlevoix. And we've got a timeout called by Gaylord.
So what would you tell your team that you'd call a timeout when you're up 31-49 with 4:21 to go in the fourth?
I honestly don't know. Charles, do you have any idea what you would tell a team when to take a timeout when you're up 49-31?
Well, I think right now, if you're each of these coaches, I think if you're head coach Kepke, you're trying to just implore the team to give you a maximum amount of effort right now and try to execute whatever type of scheme he's talking about in this full timeout. I think if you're head coach Kelly Parker, what you want to do is, so you don't have most of your starting lineup in the game, you want to go and have your auxiliary players that you bring off the bench, players that sometimes don't see a lot of time. Let them get a good feel for some game action, see if they can execute some plays. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and draw something up for Keene, getting a post touch inside. That's kind of what I would be predicting the Blue Devils come out here in their offensive set.
Well, I was watching Coach Kopecky for Charlevoix during that timeout, and he is still coaching the game. Very animated, you know, not dragging over there that he's badly losing this game against Gaylord. He's still coached. That's what the players expect the coach to do no matter what the score is. Kind of animated over there, too. Kind of not quite Bobby Knight or Tom Izzo, but still, you could tell he was still passionate about having his girls give their best.
Kennedy Wangler with the missed shot there. Sherrill gets it over to right. Now to Collins in the paint, trying to get something up and in. No good, does draw a foul.
That's tough down there in the baseline.
Yep.
But Collins certainly hasn't shown any propensity for bashfulness on the boards.
No, she's been doing a great job so far tonight. She's put up 6 points of her own, highly contested down there in the paint. There's that free throw there, and that foul is on 22, Kennedy Wangler, her second, team 6 so far this half.
Well, neither team can write home about their free throw making tonight.
No.
And made that one.
That's number 6 out of well over a dozen opportunities now for the Raiders. I lost count, unfortunately. As we wind down under 4 minutes, Raiders close back to just a 17-point deficit now, 49-32.
Looked like a travel there. Yep.
Wow.
How'd they guess that one?
You need to don your stripes back on the whistle.
I tell you.
Charles?
Well, I mean, the refs have a duty and obligation to call the game to the letter of the law, and they're certainly doing so. But, you know, if that's something that they're enforcing this year, then as the season progresses, the players will eventually get used to that and adjust.
Rozier left wide open, no good. A rare missed three-pointer from her. Collins gets the rebound, no good, but does draw a foul.
Well, you know, speaking to that point, Charles, it seems the first 2 games that I was at, and you were at, and Shane was at, the refs used a little discretion on their traveling calls.
Yeah, a little bit of discretion. I would have to say so. The refs in the last couple games, Charles, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think it's something that there's a getting used to period in the first quarter, I'd say, for each officiating crew that you have in a game. So I think these officials came out and immediately set a tone that, listen, we're going to watch your pivot foot. Everything needs to be clean in terms of how you pivot, how you move, how you come to a jump stop. And they've enforced it throughout the entirety of this game. So that's something that you want in your officiating crew is consistency. And as a player, as a coach, you need to adjust to that. And just know that if you drag your pivot foot, you're going to get called for a travel.
Or change pivot feet. That'll get you every time, too.
Well, yeah, you know. Collins is able to clean up nicely on the free throw line, getting both of those. Scores now 49-34, and she has 9 points on the evening. This is one of her highest scoring games in her career as of late. Gaylord passing around. Collins gets the block, and Wright gets the rebound.
Keene probably one of her few miscues tonight.
Sherrill drives into the paint, no good there. Wright able to come away with it after it slips through the hands of Keene once again, and Collins wasn't able to get the second rebound.
Yeah, Charlevoix had some good looks in that possession.
Yeah. Parker now taking a moment, no sense in being in a hurry. 2 minutes and a half to go. 49-34 is the score.
I think Charlevoix is playing a much better fourth quarter than they did the first quarter.
First and third quarters were rough.
Looks like Charlevoix is getting ready to do a major line change here.
As Parker puts it up, no good. Taken back by Kemp. Kemp now to Sherrill, top of the arc. Works it in, gets it over to right, left open for a 3, no good. Falls away, and Parker's able to gather it back up for the Blue Devils. And we've got a whistle.
Avery Parker drew the foul.
Yep.
And the ref shoos the second string back over to the sideline. They were ready to go, man. They only got $1.56 here to go. They want to get in and play some basketball before they get back on that bus.
Right. So that follows against number 15, Anna Kemp, her thirds now. The only player on the 2 teams with more than 2 fouls. It comes at a good time, though, as at least we're under 2 minutes to go in the game, as we've got a complete line shift change for the Raiders. Hogue, McEwen, Eaton, Boss, and of course Carson. Yep, all in for the Raiders.
I think the starters for Charlevoix are done for the night.
So now they have to put up against the starters for Gaylord. Still, they haven't come back out. As Eaton puts up 2, no good. Parker comes away with it. Passes up court to Keene, and she gets 2 more. I apologize, that was Alexis Kozlowski.
Yeah, what's going on here? Looks like Gaylord coach call a timeout. No. A lot of pointing going on.
I think you see the substitutions for the Blue Devils as Avery Parker's going to check out. Keene's going to check out for the Blue Devils. And right now you get an opportunity to see some girls who don't get a chance to play that often get some time on the court and maybe earn some more playing time.
Carson comes up with the cleanup for the Raiders after it was tipped by the Blue Devils. Eaton, all that she can handle. Carson has it back now. High flying pass up to McEwen at the corner of the arc. She's trying to get something going. Back over to Carson. She nearly loses it. Gains it back. And taken back by the Blue Devils. 44, Wrangler has it. Time's winding down under a minute now.
Yeah, I think the coach told her team to let a little air out of that basketball. Gaylord showing no intention about scoring any points at this point of the ball game. As this one winds to a close.
Little ring around the rosy here.
Yeah, just trying to burn some clock.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think the Blue Devils want to put another shot up here if they don't have to.
Yeah, a little sportsmanship by the Gaylord coach.
Sportsmanship, got to tip of your cap when you can, and like I said, I don't think they're going to put up another shot.
And unless you get it right there.
Well, didn't fall in. She's able to get her own rebound though. Gaylord still has possession now. Let's rewind under 20 seconds.
Going to be a foul called. Looks like maybe Ava Boss.
Yep, she was like, you know what, guys, I'm tired of this. I want the ball back one more time. So that's her second.
Again, only 15 total fouls, 7 for Gaylord, 8 on Charlevoix that whole second half.
Lucy Johnson at the line for Blue Devils. I guess they didn't quite understand that there was only one shot there. Both teams were left a little unaware. And that'll do it for this game. Well, you know what? Ava Boss is going to put a little more fight in. Nope.
That's
Time expires before the refs can blow the whistle. So with that, your final score here in Gaylord for the girls' varsity game, 51-34. Gaylord over Charlevoix. And we'll be back here in just a few minutes with the boys' varsity action.
As a small business owner, you learn to wear a lot of hats. The custodian hat, the IT hat, and well, the you should have called a professional hat. Auto Owners takes care of your business insurance, so you can take care of everything else. That's simple human sense.
Ask Bingham Insurance Services in Charlevoix if auto owners make sense for you.
Vision Source and Gaylord Eye Care are proud to be offering their services to local communities across northern Michigan. With locations in Gaylord, Point City, Bel Air, and Sheboygan, they're committed to serving you and providing a trusted source of credentials and expertise. If you're struggling with anything vision related, then don't hesitate to schedule a consultation and meet their friendly and experienced staff for yourself.
Business owner, you learn to wear a lot of hats. The custodian hat, the IT hat, and well, the you should have called a professional hat. Auto Owners takes care of your business insurance, so you can take care of everything else. That's simple human sense.
Ask Bingham Insurance Services in Charlevoix if auto owners make sense for you.
Johnson's Propane is Northern Michigan's #1 propane supplier. We have achieved our success through dedication to our customer service and giving back to our community. And now we have decided to make our biggest contribution to our community yet. A portion of our proceeds will be given to the Munson Healthcare Otsego Memorial Hospital to help fund the new emergency department. So when you choose Johnson's Propane, you also choose Northern Michigan. Call our office or visit us online to become a new customer today.
Are you sick and tired of monotonous family dinners? Then you need to call an audible and let BC Pizza take care of the rest. They've been the best source of handmade, hometown gourmet pizzas since 1988. And with over 30 locations, they're built to serve you. Their presence in each community has been second to none. BC Pizza has a wide variety of menu options, including salads, grinders, and of course, their famous pizza. BC Pizza, the best choice pizza.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, if you're just tuning in with us, to the next level broadcasting presentation of now the boys varsity game between Charlevoix and the Gaylord Vikings. If you weren't here with us here just a few minutes ago, we have a doubleheader, and of course the girls varsity game just wrapped up. Girls lost 51-34 to a very tough Gaylord team, the toughest of which they'll probably see all season. So the boys, of course, this is the opening game for both teams so far this season. Charlevoix and Gaylord both looking to make a big start here on their season. Charlevoix, of course, coming out with a win over a Class A team, and Gaylord just looking to find their footing and get a good start in the season, Charles.
Well, yeah, Shane, as you were talking about, looking forward to this game, looking forward to what both teams coming into this early season have to show. Obviously, Charlevoix had a pretty long and extensive postseason run. So they were kind of a little bit banged up heading into this, especially with key players like Patrick Sterrett kind of dealing with that oblique injury. For Gaylord, it's really just going to be, how can they get the athletes in space? The main athletes for the Gaylord Blue Devils will be Brady Pretzloff and Luke Gilo. And for head coach Zach Napont, I was talking to him earlier before the game, and he said, last year was a long learning process. It was his first year. Zach, a former Boyne City Rambler, but in addition to that, was a basketball assistant at the University of Michigan for John Beilein. So he instituted a lot of John Beilein's principles and all the things that Beilein's able to do and incorporate with different players, different actions. But the one thing he took from John Beilein and says that it's almost his law is how to play defense without fouling. And that's one thing, if you watched Michigan basketball under John Beilein, you knew that they weren't going to foul. And Dennis, I'm sure you can agree, when Michigan State played Michigan, Michigan didn't foul. And that's Zach's letter of the law for his Gaylord Blue Devil basketball team, is we want to get out in space, play good offense, play good defense, rebound, but most importantly, not foul. Because oftentimes we forget that fouling is a penalty. But for the Charlevoix Raiders, I'm looking forward to seeing what the new coach, the new regime, similar to Napont in the head coach of Gaylord, Charlevoix is in a position where they've got to have a new head coach, and we'll see how the team responds to his direction and leadership.
Yeah, just if you'd permit me a few random thoughts here in this pregame show for game number 2. Number 1 is I'm going to be looking at my contract in the morning to see if it has in there that I can do 2 games in one night. So Charles will be maybe getting back with you on that one. But always fun to do 2 games, to watch our Raiders play. Again, like you mentioned, Charles, the inaugural game for Coach Troshak here for Charlevoix. So both the JV coach, first time out for Charlevoix this year, brand new varsity coach. I don't ever remember having a brand new JV, brand new varsity coming out in the same year. So that'll be kind of fun to watch this. Second observation watching the pregame warm-ups here is, I got to tell you got to give Coach Napont some his team some style points for those shoes his kids have got on. Looks like a bunch of cotton candy out there with turquoise and orange and multicolor and pink. And Charlevoix, right off the bat, just cannot match up real well with style points.
So the
here
first
in the warm-up.
contest between the two teams, Charlevoix already loses with style, you say, huh, Dennis?
Yeah, they again out-styled so far, but again, that's real early on in this pre-competition warm-up spot. But I haven't seen those shoe colors since Tay Petrosky was playing for the girls last year. She was always kind of one who'd surprise you with her shoe color. But Gaylord, they've got all those big box sports stores over here, so I'm sure that those shoes are a little more available to the Gaylord players than they are for the Charlevoix players, who are basically your traditional black and white sneakers.
I'm curious to see if Mr. Orange Shoes over there on the Gaylord side, if he's going to be as on fire as those shoes look to be. Boy, you can see those from all the way over in Grayling, or down to Grayling from here.
I tell you, Gaylord's still got their warm-ups on. Everybody's still got their warm-ups on, and you can't see numbers. But I just saw a Gaylord kid did a backwards two-handed dunk. Did you see that?
I did not. No, I was too busy focused on those orange shoes, burning a hole in my retina.
Whoa, I almost choked on my popcorn. He was standing under there, the hoop to his back, one up the vertical two-handed dunk backwards.
Well, if that's what Charlevoix has to go against, I think we're going to be in for one interesting game tonight.
I could not have made that two-handed dunk backwards off a 10-foot step ladder.
You don't think so?
Nah, I know so. My wife usually doesn't let me go up that high on a step ladder, number one, but I'm pretty excited about this. Again, the Charlevoix girls, I think, just kind of a recap for them. I think they got schooled a little bit tonight. I still think they held their own on some key aspects of the game, but I think they saw what that next second or third level above their traditional opponents has to offer. The speed, the physicality, some of those things, like we mentioned, they might not run up against another Gaylord team for the rest of the season, but I think it gives them something kind of to reflect on after tonight's game on, where they're at and where they want to be as a basketball team. We'll see if that same kind of observation happens here on the boys team. I didn't hear if Gaylord has played a boys game yet or not. I'm going to say probably not.
Nope, this is the first match for both teams, so it'll be interesting to see how Gaylord and Charlevoix both do starting out. Gaylord obviously a bigger team than Charlevoix, but Charlevoix has always been tough no matter who you face. Just a tough, small team. They've had good deep runs in the postseason the last few years, especially during the Stuck and Solomon era, as well as Mueller too. Those three were dynamite for Charlevoix. So it'll be interesting to see the test that Charlevoix can put it up against for Gaylord, and just the same for Charlevoix. This is the biggest team besides Marquette that they'll face all season. So this will be a chance to, I'm going to use this word, test their mettle against such a big opponent.
Well, one thing, I picked up the program for tonight's boys game, and I thought by accident one of the Charlevoix football programs got in the stack, because looking down at these names, they looked awful familiar from the great basketball season that the Raiders had. Gaffney, Nickel, Dixon, Claflin, Pearl, Sterrett, Vollmer, Bryce Johnson. What do those guys all have in common? They're on a darn good football team, and we know from watching them all fall that they are a tough group of kids.
Yeah.
So they're going to bring game here tonight, no matter how good Gaylord is and how big Gaylord is. I think they're going to find that they're going to be challenged by this group of very cohesive, very physical in their own right, Charlevoix Raider team.
There's just this bond, this family bond that smaller schools, Class C, Class D, Charlevoix, and others have when they have these players that play in both football and basketball. They communicate with one another. They have their own kind of secret language. They know what's going on between each other and how to best work around their other opponents. Gaylord being such a big school, they might not quite have that same dynamic. They've got players coming in from all different sports, being a much larger school. So Charlevoix just has that edge in terms of communication and family dynamic that most big schools don't. So that might work to their favor tonight. They know how to work amongst themselves. They're together every single day in either sport. It'll be just interesting to see.
Yeah, and kind of taking off on your thought there is it's become, in high school, especially your big schools, which I would classify Gaylord as one of those big schools, you're not seeing many multi-sporting student athletes, because of a number of reasons. You're seeing basketball players strictly play basketball, football players strictly play football. That's been a phenomenon that's been going on probably for the last 5 or 10 years, where those schools, because of the skill set required in the competition to play, you can't kind of dilute that by playing another sport during the entire year. As opposed to Charlevoix, a small school, it's almost required that your athletes are multi-sports individuals, because there just aren't enough people to go around. They don't have the luxury of being able to one sport anything. And you're seeing, again, like I just read off all those football players' names. It's kind of an expected phenomenon at your smaller school, which I think, like you mentioned, is an advantage with regards to the cohesive team spirit and loyalty with each other and families and all that you might not see when you've got those single sport athletes on their team going on.
Well, one thing I really see with Charlevoix that I haven't seen a whole lot of in Gaylord in their warm-ups here is a great three-point percentage. I mean, I would have to say they're about 3/4, 75% three-point shooting, and that's going to bode well for them tonight if they get some good looks. We've got plenty of three-point shooters, not only new this year, but carrying over from previous years in basketball as well, like Vollmer and Ryan Pearl, Patrick Sterrett. Those guys are great three-point shooters, so it'll be fun to see how well that they can do tonight.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that after the last loss for the Charlevoix Raider football team, those kids were in the weight room that next Monday morning, just because that's what they do. And I think that physicality and their physical strength and weightlifting and drive to get better, drive to get stronger that Charlevoix exhibits, whether they're playing as a team football or as we see tonight basketball. So we'll see how much of that translates, that field experience, camaraderie, skill set, physicality translates from the football field here to the Gaylord Blue Devil basketball court tonight.
Exactly right. Well, I tell you what, gentlemen, we're just about a minute left here. The teams are off the court. Before we go into opening lineups, Charles, is there anything else you'd like to say before we get going?
Well, I just think for these two teams, it's important to get off to a good start. It's a young season. You want to be able to establish everything that each coach has been preaching the last 2 weeks. I'm interested to see it. I know all of our people watching at home are interested to see how these teams come out and play after, Charlevoix losing a lot of production last year with Evan Solomon and Stuck, and Gaylord returning a lot of players that contributed to last year's team. So we'll see how it rolls out, and that's why they play the game.
That's right. Well, here we are going into the national anthem. Tune in with us, ladies and gentlemen. Stay right here, and on the other side of this, get into our opening lineups. Well, a couple quick notes that I've been taking here during the national anthem is mentally, of course. There's not a whole lot more kids on the Gaylord side than on the Charlevoix side. Charlevoix's got a very good-sized team for their size of school compared to the Class A size that Gaylord is.
Yeah, look pretty evenly matched. It's kind of nice looking down here and seeing Zach Napont's folks right down here in front of me. So they took the drive over from Boyne City to see their son coach. I believe it's his second year, right? Second year coach, Zach Napont. Boyne City product and his folks. Nice seeing them tonight. I used to work with Chrissy over at the in Charlevoix, so always nice to renew old friends here supporting their son.
Well, for the lineup for Charlevoix beginning, we've got number 4, Joe Gaffney, number 10, Troy Nickel, number 12, Max Dixon, number 24, Ryan Pearl, and number 30, Patrick Sterrett.
That's the football team.
That's right. For the Blue Devils now. Number 2, Torino Lamorato. Boy, that's a fun name, Torino Lamorato.
Sporting the old turquoise shoes.
Number 11, Aiden Fox. Number 22, Luke Gaylord. Number 23, Luke Enders. And rounding out your lineup for Gaylord, number 24, Brady Pretzloff.
They are big. You know, even from up here, looking at the starting 5 for Charlevoix and the starting 5 for Gaylord, you know, it looks like they've got us by about a couple, 3-4 inches at every position.
Yeah.
Look at number 24. What would you guess he won? We don't have their sizes, but he's 3-4 inches taller than
Patrick Sterrett. He's about 5'10", so I'd have to say that 24 is probably at least 6'3". But Sterrett wins the tip-off. How about that? He's got some hops to him, that's for sure.
He wasn't going to get intimidated.
No.
They shouldn't have been holding his shoes down there behind him, though.
Number 22, Luke Gilo with the shot, no good. They're able to come away with the rebound.
Left-handed shot.
And then Ryan Pearl gets it back.
Look at that swarming defense. Looks a lot like the girls' team.
Quick foul to begin the game on number 22, Gilo, for Gaylord, their first team's first. Pearl off to Nickel.
Bad place to pick that ball up. That is a terrible place to pick the ball up.
Gets the ball off to Gaffney. Now Patrick Sterrett for the first 3 of the season. No good.
Oh, no. Boy, I tell you what, that looked like a little rodeo move by Max Dixon. Come along, little doggy.
Yeah. That'll be his team's first foul, Max Dixon's. The inbound was brought to by 23 Luke Enders for Gaylord.
Full court pressure by the Raiders.
Brady Petzlaff gets it off now to Gilo. As Lamorato has it. Gaylord taking their time as Gilo has it back now, working against Nickel. Lamorato at the top of the arc, working against Pearl now. Trying to find someone to get rid of that ball to. Bounce pass over to Aiden Fox.
They're going to call something down low there. I think this is a kind of game so far that looks like those refs are going to have to be a little tighter on the calls.
Yeah. A little bit different from what we saw in that girls game, but so far both teams are scoreless here in the first minute and a quarter of gameplay. Raiders, for being a much younger team than Gaylord, have been able to put up good defense so far as Lamorato has it.
Well, the refs used up all their traveling calls, so they have no more left in their quiver.
Well, let's hope so. Gilo works it in. He'll get the bucket and a foul.
That looked like the foul was on the floor before the shot.
I apologize there. That was Luke Enders there that got the shot and the foul.
You know, we interviewed the new Charlevoix coach at the halftime of one of the football games. First impressions were he's quite a pleasant individual.
Yep, he's very well liked amongst both teammates of Charlevoix as well as all the students. He's the gym teacher there in Charlevoix, very fittingly so for being the basketball coach. And he just brings this pleasant energy that is very refreshing to these classes at school. Very polite, just an all-around nice guy, plenty of energy as well. Hopefully he'll be able to fill up the shoes of Matt Stuck, Coach Matt Stuck, very nicely here this season. Nickel gets it over. And what do we have there, Dennis? I was too busy looking at the sheet.
Yeah, he kicked the ball, so
okay.
Turn over, back over to Charlevoix. It looks like Gaylord is extremely aggressive defensively. Double teaming the ball, trying to not letting the ball get anywhere near down low. They're stopping the ball almost mid-court. Trying to trap those Charlevoix players with that pickup in one of the corners.
So go ahead, Dennis.
I was just going to say, Charlevoix is going to have to use some pretty quick passes down underneath. I think Gaylord's going to be extremely difficult to dribble against, trying to get that ball down low.
So now Pearl has the inbound for the Raiders. Gets it off to Watkins. Now back to Pearl. He has it at the top of the arc. Back over to Gaffney this time. Now Nickel has it.
Double teaming the ball is Gaylord.
Gaffney with the long shot off the glass. No good. Charlevoix able to get it out before it goes out of bounds, but Lamorato gets it back for Gaylord.
Yeah, a lot of energy there from Max Dixon saving that ball, but he saved it right to Gaylord.
Enders, he'll go up for the 2 and gets it in. Quick 5 points, the only 5 points Gaylord has so far this game. 5 minutes, 40 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Nickel tries to get something going off the foot of Pretzloff.
Well, Ryan Pearl on that last possession by Gaylord, I think had position and should have stood his ground and taken the charge. He kind of heard some footsteps and got out of the way. I think he had position. Now, I'd like to see him stand there the next time and take the charge.
Pearl gets the ball off to Joe Gaffney, puts it up, no good. And Pretzloff has it back for the Blue Devils. Now Enders working into the paint, tries for 2 more, falls short. Starrett able to come away with it.
That's Starrett toughness. There we go.
Joe Gaffney there with the travel.
Hey, we went almost 3 minutes without a travel call. I knew that they were just itching to make that call.
Was it going to be any longer, and the ref might swallow his whistle
Yeah.
accidentally. So Lamorato has it now for the Blue Devils.
Charlevoix double teaming the ball now up top.
22, Gilo left wide open and gets the 2.
He looks like a shooter. He's got that left-hand shot. Coach Troshak says, wait a minute. We're behind 7 zip here. We got to figure something out.
Charles?
Well, so far it's not the way that the Raiders drew this one up. But and oftentimes in these first games, the home team has that mojo coming out. You know, the starting lineups happen. You got the home people, then you stand. You're looking around, you're seeing your parents, you see your girlfriend over there. So we'll see how the Raiders can respond to this early 7-0 deficit. Kind of starting to figure out what the Blue Devils are playing defensively and kind of feel for how you want to attack that type of pressure. For the Blue Devils, continuing to get the ball into the paint and get it inside. It's definitely been very assertive for them, and it's definitely been a message that they want to get the ball inside to the paint, get those athletes, those long, lengthy guys up near the rim.
Well, I will say one thing that's going for Charlevoix is they're doing a great job rebounding. Maybe not so much getting those shots up and in, but they're doing a great job rebounding against what is largely a much taller Gaylord team. I mean, we see most of these Gaylord guys towering over Charlevoix players by at least 2 to 3 inches, and we've seen Starrett already with multiple big jumps able to beat out big men like Pretzloff and Gilo. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Charlevoix has definitely had the advantage so far in rebounds.
Well, what I like during that timeout is Coach Troshak kind of got in the face of one of the refs. I like that spunk and spirit. Finally, the ref had to walk away, but that energy right off the bat, Coach wasn't going to let something happen. He thought he was getting the short end of the stick of, and he let the ref know about it.
So Pearl, he'll try for a quick jumper, falls away, and is able to be gathered back up by Pretzloff. And we've got a travel on Gaylord. How about that?
How about that?
So far, the travel call's been even on both sides. Not favoring one team or another at the moment, so that's a good thing to see. Still 4.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Gaylord still up 7-0 over Charlevoix.
Well, like Charles mentioned, I think Charlevoix just has to weather that storm here initially on that initial burst of energy on opening night for Gaylord. I don't think they can play with that intensity the whole night.
Joe Gaffney, just a hair long off the back of the rim, falls back into the hands of Enders.
Gaffney starting out about 0 for 4.
Yeah. Long three, no good there by Enders. Charlevoix gathers it back up. Joe Gaffney drives it and gets the foul.
Yeah, I like that drive. Number 23 called for the foul there, Luke Enders.
That was actually against Trino Lamorato there.
Yeah. Whatever. I like the drive, though.
Yep. As Peyton Scott now in for the Raiders. Gets it back over to Joe Gaffney in the corner. Drives it in. Shoots it over to Nate Claflin. He wasn't able to connect with the basket either. Raiders held scoreless after 4.5 minutes of play. Enders has it. The pass broken up by Pearl, and now Joe Gaffney has it back, working into the paint for the Raiders. Spins around, gets the shot up and in.
That was a nice move by Joe Gaffney.
That is a top player in the making right there. And ladies and gentlemen, he's only a freshman. Keep that in mind. As Lamorato has it now for the Blue Devils.
His folks are here tonight. I think his dad was somewhere around the bench here. Superintendent down in Ellsworth. Offensive foul.
Wow.
On 24, their big stud, Brady Petzlaff. He was very physical underneath, to say the least, and the ref, maybe that's what the discussion was with the ref and coach for Charlevoix, is that Petzlaff is a little too over the top on his physicality there on defense.
So that'll be Petzlaff's first of the night, team's third so far this half. We're under 3 minutes now. Peyton Scott looking for someone to get the ball to, gets it over to Sterrett. No shot there. Let's see who the foul's on.
I think if you're Charlevoix, you got to keep running the ball at Gaylord. They're picking up some quite a few fouls here early on in the basketball game just by Charlevoix driving the basketball and Gaylord not knowing how to guard without fouling, just like Charles mentioned earlier on the game.
Pearl's got the ball at the moment. All he can handle, gets it knocked away by Gaylord. Charlevoix retains possession. That foul just a moment ago was against number 13, William Bethoy.
So Coach Napon can't be happy with 4 fouls on his team here just in the first quarter.
Joe Gaffney gets the ball over to Sterrett. Now back to Pearl. He'll drive it in. Back over to Scott.
That's a foul, too. You can't be pushing the guy off the ball like that.
Gaffney puts it up for a long two. No good. Nate Claflin almost came away with the rebound. Lamorato has it back over to Enders. Enders now to Locker. Locker working it in, gets a travel.
Yep. That was an easy call.
If we can see it up here, the refs better be calling it.
I tell you what, that Brady Petzlaff, he's a physical specimen, isn't
he? Yeah, he is.
Big kid.
So now Troy Nickel has it for Charlevoix, gets it over to Peyton Scott. Down to Vollmer. Vollmer making his first appearance tonight. Back over to Nickel. He works it into the paint. No shot. Foul. Yep.
Yeah, you can't be grabbing. Again, you can play. You play defense with your feet. I've made that point more than once. Number 13 for Gaylord didn't get the memo and just reached out and grabbed the arm of the Charlevoix driver there and got caught with a foul, his second.
Yeah, fouls really starting to pile up for the Blue Devils so far early on in this first quarter.
Max Dixon with the quick thinking, bats it over to Nickel. He's got it working into the paint now, tries to get 2 more up on the board, and the fall's in.
Yeah, Charlevoix needed that. Been a little bit of a dry spell. Not a great first quarter with only 4 points.
but they've held Gaylord in the last 3 minutes of play.
Yep.
So Charlevoix has been able to come back. Very much a defensive battle at the moment. And it looks like Charlevoix might be picking up one of their first fouls. Tell you what, Zach Napont there, coach for the Blue Devils, he's got some words for his team. That's for sure. He's not too happy with their performance so far. As that foul was against number 32, Hudson Vollmer for Charlevoix, his first team's fourth.
Well, I would say.
Give us, sorry, Dennis. I don't want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But this is going to give us a little bit of time to thank one of our sponsors, and I want to thank our friends over at Cat Development for bringing this game to you. A lot of connections for the Cat Development team between Gaylord and Charlevoix. So big shout out to Cat Development for being one of our primary sponsors for tonight's game to bring this excellent conference or inner or outer conference rivalry of Northern Michigan teams. As this game is always played once a year, home and home series has been going on for, I think, upwards of 10 to 15 years. So big shout out to Cat Development for being one of our sponsors tonight, bringing this game to you wherever you're watching from.
Hey, if ever you want to mention a sponsor, it trumps whatever I got to say. That was probably $100 worth of gas to get over here tonight.
Well, with those prices at the moment. But I digress. Under a minute and a half now. Gaylord has the ball. 7-4 is still the score. 22
way
for
too
Gaylord.
Easy.
Luke Gilo drives that one in.
Yeah, it was way too easy. You don't want to see a guy be able to drive the lane like that.
Darnier gets a dunk. But Charlevoix answers right back with Troy Niccolo getting his own.
Troy Nickel got 2 pennies right there.
Scores 9-6. Charlevoix bringing it back slowly within 3.
Out of control.
Finally, a travel call there. He was tumbling all over the place.
Yeah, if anything, I would say observation about Gaylord, they kind of seem to be playing a little above their skill set. A lot of kind of, over the top defense and that play right there. So I think if I was Coach Napon, I'd say, hey, let's slow the game down a little bit. We got them physically. We're in our home house here tonight. Just back off the accelerator just a tad.
Yeah, so far they have 5 fouls accrued. In this first quarter, Vollmer wanted to take that look. Doesn't get it. High pass over to Pearl. He'll try for a quick jumper, just short. He'll get his own rebound. Back over to Nickel now at the top of the arc. Time winding down under 12 seconds. Back over to Pearl.
Charlevoix playing for the last shot.
Max Dixon now has it in the paint. Works, gets 2, no good, but does draw the foul.
I think you keep doing that. You keep going at Gaylord. They've shown the propensity to, get the foul. I think you just keep going at them, and I think that should be pretty easy for Charlevoix to do.
So that foul will be against number 24, Brady Pretzlaff, his second, team 6.
Yeah, so that's a big foul there for Pretzlaff to pick up his second foul. Still 33 seconds to go in the first quarter. It looks like Gaylord's going to make a substitution here as they're going to take Pretzlaff out and bring in Nathan Graham. Don't want Pretzlaff to get that third foul early in this game.
Yeah, with 33 seconds left, that'd be not so good for Gaylord. Oh,
that one went around the world and out. Score's still 9-6, just about 30 seconds to go.
Travel,
yeah. When he knocked around Max Dixon quite a bit there, too. I almost thought I saw a foul there. But
yeah, but speaking to my last point, again, tried to force the drive. It wasn't there. And what happens? Turnover.
Pearl gets it back over to Scott now at the top of the arc, waiting for something to happen.
Finger roll.
And that's
Did he get the basket?
That's against 21, Elliott Rice. Apologize, Luke Gilo there.
Well, Charles, you're talking pregame about Michigan and what hopefully Zach Napont picked up about the foul thing. I think he better review that memo again. They got almost 10 fouls here in the first quarter. Team fouls.
No good for Peyton Scott there. Time now down to 12 seconds. Gaylord probably with the last shot here, more or less. Lamato has it. Enders with the long 3, falls well short, and that'll end up the first quarter of play. Gaylord Blue Devils, wow, there it is. A little gear grinding. up over the Raiders 9-6. We'll be back after this.
Business owner, you learn to wear a lot of hats. The custodian hat, the IT hat, and well, you should have called a professional hat. Auto Owners takes care of your business insurance, so you can take care of everything else. That's simple human sense.
Ask Bingham Insurance Services in Charlevoix if auto owners make sense for you.
Vision Source and Gaylord Eye Care are proud to be offering their services to local communities across northern Michigan. With locations in Gaylord, Point City, Bel Air, and Sheboygan, they're committed to serving you and providing a trusted source of credentials and expertise. If you're struggling with anything vision related, then don't hesitate to schedule a consultation and meet their friendly and experienced staff for yourself.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, just about ready to come out of the first quarter break. A very fast-paced and defensively minded first quarter it was. And we want to make quick mention, Charles pointed out to us, before the timeout, Raiders were down 7-0 with about 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Since then, they've gone on a 6-2 run, bringing the score now 9-6, just 3-point differential between the two teams. And Charlevoix will have the ball to begin the second quarter.
Yeah, Gaylord so far, I just don't think have exploited some of their skill set. They've tried to be physical, but not in a good way, with 7 team fouls in that first quarter. Make it 8 in the early part of the second quarter here.
And, you know, it's one of those things right now where the officiating is kind of starting to really take a role in this game. I mean, the Blue Devils have 8 fouls, and that's going to limit, you know, how they're able to play going forward into the second or first half. I mean, you have Pretzloff on the bench with 2 fouls, and you got to keep in mind that for the officials, this is their first game officiating boys basketball as well. So you can tell that there's an emphasis on travels, and you can tell that there's an emphasis on hand checks on the perimeter. You see a lot of fouls right now. Which team can do the best job of just staging off the foul trouble will probably head into halftime up.
Oh, that was a long three.
Way downtown by 22, Gilo.
And Gilo just keeps lighting it up, man. I believe that's his 8th point of the first half, Shane.
That's his 6th, but he's been right there, yeah. Joe Gaffney able to put back 2 of his own, back to a 4-point differential now, 12-8.
I'm impressed so far with Gaffney.
Yep. For being a freshman, he is a very, very strong player.
Stand your ground right there against a big guy.
And he did. There was no shot there. Gaylord does retain possession, but a few moments ago, Gaylord did have a foul, and that was against number 42, Nathan Graham. And then within a couple seconds, Charlevoix had their 5th foul of the evening against Troy Nickel. Both of theirs first foul, respectively, so far in this game.
Well, after the quarter break there, I saw one of the assistant Gaylord coaches working that ref. But again, another Gaylord foul.
That time it's against number 11, Aiden Fox. His first, team's 9th now.
Well, just an overall general observation, Gaylord is still playing defense with their hands. And they don't have to. They're very physical. But again, if you're looking at 9 points just barely into the, or 9 team fouls barely into the second quarter, you got to change something up.
So here we are. Joe Gaffney trying to get something going. Back over to Nate Claflin now. Troy Nickel has it at the top of the arc, working around. He'll go into the paint, shovels it off to Dixon.
Oh,
no good.
This is a puppy.
But Charlevoix gets it back.
Those are important, but went off a Luke Gallo. Did I say that right? Gallo?
Gilo.
Gilo.
Yep.
Close.
Max Dixon over to Troy Nickel now.
Take
Vollmer left wide open. He didn't like that, though. Back over to Nickel. He'll work it in and loses it.
Tough to dribble against that.
Yep. Nice little flop there by Gaffney. No good on the shot. And Charlevoix has it back.
Another foul. That was not a smart foul. That was 30 feet away from the hoop. I could have called that from Pewamo, Westphalia.
Wow.
That foul.
Okay.
the coach cannot be happy with that.
So that'll leave Gilo to sit
His
on the
third
bench.
foul.
Yeah, for the rest of this half. Coach Trocheck for Charlevoix very animated after that, bringing lots of energy as Joe Gaffney goes up to the line, gets his first one in. He has 5 points now on the evening. Raiders back within 3, 12-9. Still 6.5 minutes to go here in the second.
This is a critical moment in time for the game right now for the Blue Devils, Shane, with both leading scorers or projected leading scorers on the bench right now. What will the Blue Devils be able to do to find that offensive threat? As Lamorato got a nice bucket there.
Yeah,
that was a nice way to break the Charlevoix press.
That was a nice move
for Trino to get that one up off the glass and in.
Vollmer couldn't get that one to go in. And Gaylord gets it back after Max Dixon went all the way to the wall to try and get that one back into our possession. Graham now with the ball working against Vollmer. Now back to Lamorato. No good there. Enders puts it up.
In and out.
In and out, yep.
Halfway down, came back out.
Vollmer didn't like that look. Joe Gaffney will try for three. Gets it in from way downtown.
Freshman Gaffney makes it a 1-point ball game here in the first half.
Gaylord no good on the shot there. Gaffney has 9 of the Raiders' 13 points so far. And Charlevoix draws another foul.
There's a jump ball. What'd they call that? Enders wasn't going to win that.
No. Oh, I guess it is a jump ball. Gaylord will have it.
I tell you what, in this first half, there's been no back down by the Charlevoix Raider club.
No, in fact, I think they've even turned it up, especially with Gaffney drilling long three-pointers like he did just then a moment ago. Long inbounds pass. 21, Elliott Rice. Works it into the paint, no shot, does draw a foul.
Yeah, a couple of the Charlevoix players kind of trying to communicate a little better.
So that'll be Troy Nichols' second foul, team 6 so far this evening. Charlevoix not completely clean either. They've had, 6 fouls of their own, only 4 behind Gaylord. And Enders was able to make use of that first free throw attempt.
Yeah, a lot to like about Charlevoix in this first half.
Gets both of them in. Troy Nickel taking a moment. No sense being in a hurry, gets it over to Vollmer. Raiders down 3, 16-13. Nickel try for 2, no good off the side of the backboard. And a foul on Charlevoix, knocking Lamorato out of bounds.
Yeah, and that foul is going to put the Blue Devils in the bonus, so they'll be going to the line for a 1-1 bonus opportunity. I mean, we're 5 minutes in, and both teams are already in the bonus. Charlevoix in the double bonus. It's which team's going to make the most free throws? I don't think the Raiders have a very good shooting percentage from the free throw line so far.
No.
The Blue Devils, they just made 2 at the line. So we'll see if Torino can go up there and knock 2 down, put the Blue Devils up by 5 points.
Doesn't get that one in. Patrick Sterrett able to get it. And now Joe Gaffney gets it over to Scott.
Nice
and
shot.
number 20, Nate Claflin, puts 2 up on the board for Charlevoix.
Pretty little shot there from the free throw line. 3-point game here. 1 point. What is it?
One of them, between 1 and 3.
Take your pick. This is a multiple choice.
Well, now it's back to a 3-point as 23, Luke Enders, puts 2 more back up on the board for the Blue Devils. Peyton Scott gets it back over to Gaffney. He'll try from way downtown, blows it in there. Wow.
Wow.
Well, I tell you what, it's a nice confidence booster to have a shooter like that, especially only being a freshman on the team. We've got good hands to cover us for a long time.
It was only tied up for a second, but it was tied up.
It was. Luke Enders breaks away from Charlevoix's grasp, scores 28-18, 4 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Didn't like that opportunity. Scott has it back at the top of the arc. Nate Claflin driving it in, gets it back over to Patrick Sterrett, and he gets 2 on the board.
Nothing but net. Tie ball game here. 3:47 to go in the first half.
20 apiece. Graham driving
Travel.
in. Yep.
No, on the floor. So what did I say earlier about what refs try to do?
They try and even things out.
You betcha.
And they are. Back to 8 fouls now Charlevoix has. The third one of those goes on to Troy Nickel now.
And the only difference being I don't think that Charlevoix is in quite the same spot foul-wise as Gaylord is with two of their better players riding the pine right now.
At the moment, Joe Gaffney has no fouls. Max Dixon only has one. Scott, Claflin, and Starrett, our other big players, have none as well. It's just Nickel with more than one foul. So Charlevoix's in good shape at the moment. Gaylord able to get their own rebound. Enders from the three-point line, no good. Gaylord gets a jump ball here. Raider gets it.
You know, it appears to be me to be a little edgy out there. You guys kind of sense a little edgy?
Yeah. Little scraping and fighting here now and then. The
yeah.
coaches yelling back and forth.
Yeah, yelling at the refs, yelling at each other.
Yeah. It's a good opening contest for both teams, no doubt about it. Joe Gaffney once again from the three-point line, actually well beyond it. That's his first miss of the night.
Another half step forward and he would have had that. That was a long way out there. He must have the green light, though.
Luke Enders puts 2 more on the board for Gaylord. Of their 22 points, he himself has scored 13. Max Dixon has it under the basket. Gets it back off to Nickel. He'll try for 2, gets it in.
Again, nice little jumper.
He's got 6 points. Good opening showing for him as well. Tie ball game, 22 apiece, 2 3/4 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Patrick Starrett with the steal. Gets it up. No shot, but does get the foul.
Draws the foul just as good.
Yep. Man, I cannot get over how great this Raider team, and really Gaylord too, physicality-wise, but Charlevoix just blowing out my expectations for an opening game. They are firing on all cylinders at the moment against the school the size of Gaylord.
Yeah, Charlevoix just a little bit more in self-control when they were playing. Gaylord, again, playing, a little fast for their own good. And trying to calm them down, I think, would be Zach's halftime talk a little bit. And trying to...
And Shane and Dennis, one point I do want to make is I've been impressed with the play of Enders for the Blue Devils. He's got 6 points. I think 6 of their last 6 points, as he's been really, lighting it up for them.
Those 3 points were brought to you by Aiden Lucker.
They come down and drain a 3. That was a nice shot.
Yeah. Patrick Starrett now gets it back over to Gaffney. Vollmer at the corner. Drive in by Charlevoix, no good. That was Ryan Pearl. Enders, he'll try for another 3. Gets that one to fall in. 16 points now in one half for Enders.
Oh, no.
And a turnover for Charlevoix. This is not a good series of events. 2 straight 3 points made for Gaylord, and now a turnover. Gaylord up 28-22, minute 55 to go here in the first half.
Yes, for as good as Charlevoix was playing, this last 30 seconds has been a little bit of a disaster. Offensively and defensively, they went to sleep a little bit.
Enders loses control of it. Vollmer gets it back for the Raiders. Hopefully they can make the most of it as they're down the biggest deficit they've had in almost an entire quarter. Nope. Number 3, Locker gets it right back for Gaylord. Shoves it over to Holscher, and he gets 2 points up on the board.
Yeah, Charlevoix going to try to put the fire out here. Coach calls a timeout, talk this over.
Well, right there, the Gaylord had an 8-0 run that came down with Wilson, hit the three-pointer, then it was who
Enders had the other 3.
Enders hit the second three-pointer, and then you get the turnover for the touchdown. Good way of Gaylord turning that defense into offense with both of what we deemed like their key players on the bench, and Pretzloff and Gilo. Good way of them, being able to pick it up defensively and turn their defense into good offense. Notice how that they're getting out in transition, the Blue Devils are, and getting in rhythm, getting in the flow of their offense. A lot of that has stemmed from Enders and his production, 9 points coming in this second quarter. So he's been a big spark plug for the Blue Devils.
Well,
Let's see
Locker's
if they
brought
can continue this defensive energy.
Locker's brought some interest from the bench as well.
Oh, yeah. Joe Gaffney trying for three once again, just long. Enders picks it back up. Minute 9 seconds to go here in the first half. Raiders trailing by 8, the biggest deficit they've had this quarter, 30-22. Enders will put it up again. No good. A rare miss by him, but Gaylord able to put it back up and in.
Yeah,
that was Aiden Locker once again.
Yeah, Locker is brought for being a bench player. I think I'd move him up one spot.
Charlevoix able to come away.
Man, how quick it went to a 10-point lead.
Yeah. Joe Gaffney trying to get something going for the Raiders. A long two, falls away. Enders able to pick it back up. And they'll say Gaylord ball still after Locker lost it. Patrick Sterrett just got a finger on it. Enders will be handling the rebound for the Blue Devils. Lamorato now. Back over to Locker, taking their time as time winds down under 30 seconds. Locker working it in. No good there. Max Dixon able to gather it back for the Raiders. Vollmer loses it right away. Lamorato has it. Little alley-oop and in.
Yeah, they better take this part into the garage because some of the wheels are falling off.
Another foul. This time it'll be on 3, Locker.
Yeah, I really like Locker's spunk. Pretty good player.
Yeah, he is. Draws his first foul of the game. Gaylord's 11th so far this half. They've been playing pretty clean here in the last about 4 minutes of gameplay. Their coach there, Napont, he told them to clean it up or else.
Yeah.
Sterrett well short there on his first free throw attempt, with just 9.4 seconds to go here in the half after a second attempt. And it goes in. That'll be off the hands of Vollmer against Enders. 2.8 seconds to go.
Good play by Vollmer, slowing them down a little bit so they don't get the last bucket here before the half.
Locker handling the inbound, gets it off to no shot there. Apologize, that was Enders.
Going to be a three-shot free throw here. That's the last thing you wanted to see happen right there. If you were to list the worst thing that could happen right there, it would be that.
So that'll be against Ryan Pearl.
That was a low percentage shot.
Yeah.
That far out. Now he gives them 3 puppies. One.
Wow. Boy, that took a moment.
And Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an opportunity for Enders to go to the line, get his 12th and 13th point of the second quarter.
Yeah, second quarter, yes.
Yep. The announcer's jinx right there.
He jinxed him.
Well,
see if it's a one-shot jinx or a two-shot jinx.
He doesn't seem like a man who would miss 2. Does not. So that brings him to 18 points in total in the game. So with that, as time expires, the Raiders trail 36-23 after tying it up just 3.5 game minutes ago. So we'll bring back our coverage with a halftime show after this quick commercial break.
Vision Source and Gaylord Eye Care are proud to be offering their services to local communities across northern Michigan. With locations in Gaylord, Point City, Bel Air, and Sheboygan, they're committed to serving you and providing a trusted source of credentials and expertise. If you're struggling with anything vision related, then don't hesitate to schedule a consultation and meet their friendly and experienced staff for yourself.
Johnson's Propane is Northern Michigan's #1 propane supplier. We have achieved our success through dedication to our customer service and giving back to our community. And now we have decided to make our biggest contribution to our community yet. A portion of our proceeds will be given to the Munson Healthcare Otsego Memorial Hospital to help fund the new emergency department. So when you choose Johnson's Propane, you also choose Northern Michigan. Call our office or visit us online to become a new customer today.
Business owner, you learn to wear a lot of hats. The custodian hat, the IT hat, and well, you should have called a professional hat. Auto Owners takes care of your business insurance, so you can take care of everything else. That's simple human sense.
Ask Bingham Insurance Services in Charlevoix if auto owners make sense for you.
Are you sick and tired of monotonous family dinners? Then you need to call an audible and let BC Pizza take care of the rest. They've been the best source of handmade, hometown gourmet pizzas since 1988. And with over 30 locations, they're built to serve you. Their presence in each community has been second to none. BC Pizza has a wide variety of menu options, including salads, grinders, and of course, their famous pizza. BC Pizza, the best choice pizza.
I'm Ryan Beningo, but you might know me for my business, Professional Seamless Gutters, where we specialize in, you guessed it, everything gutters. New installation, replacements, cleaning, leaf guards, drain chains, and much more. But unlike many service providers, when you call Professional Seamless Gutters, you get me, Orion, not some bum intern or call center recording. So when you're contemplating any services regarding the gutters on your home or pole barn, think.
Are you sick and tired of monotonous family dinners? Then you need to call an audible and let BC Pizza take care of the rest. They've been the best source of handmade, hometown gourmet pizzas since 1988. And with over 30 locations, they're built to serve you. Their presence in each community has been second to none. BC Pizza has a wide variety of menu options, including salads, grinders, and of course, their famous pizza. BC Pizza, the best choice pizza.
Hello, I'm Ryan Beningo, but you might know me for my business, Professional Seamless Gutters, where we specialize in, you guessed it, everything gutters. New installation, replacements, cleaning, leaf guards, drain chains, and much more. But unlike many service providers, when you call Professional Seamless Gutters, you get me, Orion, not some bum intern or call center recording. So when you're contemplating any services regarding the gutters on your home or pole barn, think Professional Seamless Gutters.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cat Development Halftime Show. I tell you what, gentlemen, what a first half this has been. The Raiders are down 36-23 under the Gaylord Blue Devils. I'll get that straight sometime tonight. But what a fast-paced game this has been. Charlevoix, up until the last about 2 minutes of gameplay, was able to keep toes-to-toe with Gaylord. They just a couple of quick three-point fires from Gaylord and then a couple of unnecessary turnovers resulted in a 13-point lead at the moment. But Charlevoix really came back from that 7-point deficit earlier and proved for a while anyway to be all that Gaylord could handle.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever went ahead, but it was tied more than once. It's almost unfair that, you know, to look at the score of 36-23, you'd think, oh, this has been a blowout. But absent that, like you mentioned, 1 or 2 minutes there in the end of the second quarter, I think Charlevoix has nothing to be ashamed of. And you kind of got to wonder, was it fatigue, or did they just lose concentration, or did Gaylord ratcheted up a couple notches. Something obviously happened in 2 minutes that completely turned this game around in the Blue Devils' favor. I don't know what it was.
Of the 3 options you gave, I'd have to say it's option 1 and 3.
Yeah.
You got a little fatigued, and Gaylord turned it up a little bit. As you
Yep.
can see in the last couple of minutes, Charlevoix was missing a lot of shots, being a little hasty, losing control of the ball, stuff that we hadn't seen for most of the second half, especially from about 3 minutes into the first quarter and on. Charlevoix really cleaned their game up, and then just in the last couple minutes here, the first half, they lost balls, didn't make shots, and Gaylord was able to make use of almost every single one of those, getting 3 points, getting lots of free throws in. I mean, Enders not only was he able to get 2 straight 3 points in the last couple frames here of the second half, or excuse me, the first half, but he also got 5 points in free throws. So that really hurt the Raiders' efforts as well, as they were trying to close out this quarter much closer than they were.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Gaylord, because of foul trouble on a couple of their big studs here tonight, their big starter studs, has had to dip into their bench a little bit. And I think this shows maybe that, Charlevoix's bench maybe can't play a little bit more of a drop-off than obviously Gaylord has had reaching down into their bench of non-starters. So that could be it. Who knows? Could be a combination of things. But before we go too much farther, Sean, I'd like to thank you for carting my rear end over here from Charlevoix tonight. It's kind of a cold, dreary, almost feels like a March. It could freezing rain any minute kind of night. But you got me over here safe and sound, and my wife just asked that you get me back safe and sound. That's all she wants to say to you.
Well, Shane might be able to. I don't know who Sean is, but Shane might be able to. Shane might be able to get you back safely.
Whoops.
Well,
I'm usually on the couch right about now, nodding through the news. So give me a little. I don't know. Give me a pass on that.
Oh, I'll give you a pass there, Don. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah. Well, we got to have a little bit of fun in halftime. 5.5 minutes to go roughly before time expires and we begin play. But I just cannot get over this game. I mean, for the opening game that Charlevoix, both teams have had, but Charlevoix to come out swinging against a Class A team like they have. I remember the last couple of years with the Caleb Stuck and Evan Salmon era, they weren't able to have quite as much energy as I've seen so far in this opening half. Both of them were very impactful players, but kind of those supporter players weren't as, what's the word I'm looking for? Energy packed, I guess, for lack of a better term, as I've seen some of the supporter players here. I mean, Joe Gaffney, of course, and Troy Nicola are scoring leaders, but you've had Nate Claflin come in and make a big difference so far defensively, and he's gotten a couple points on the board. Same with Ryan Pearl. He's been there defensively as well. And Patrick Sterrett, he's been in there jabbing and grinding and shoving around trying to get that ball and then throwing on a few more points as well. So just a very even-keeled, multifaceted effort from the Raiders that is really surprising for an opening night. And Gaylord, they've had one stellar night as well, but 18 of their 36 points, half of their points have come from one player. That's not so much the case for Charlevoix. So maybe they'll be able to get some of their bigger guys back. As we know that there's a couple of them in foul trouble, Brady Pratzlaff and Luke Gilo, especially a couple of their biggest players, both had to sit out most of the second quarter for foul trouble. So it'll be interesting to see what they can provide coming here in the second half, so long as they don't get any more fouls accumulated onto their tally already.
Well, like we were talking about in the pregame, in that Charlevoix comes to the court tonight with those leadership and team kind of concept kind of transcending right into the basketball season. So, 3/4 of the big boxes coming in here for Charlevoix, started getting checked off with the same group of kids back in August and September. So, some of the harder parts to kind of have a team congeal and work together and who's going to lead and who's going to follow, all that's been worked out in football already. It's just that transition from the green grass to the hardwood and some of those skill sets, which is kind of the only X factor. But again, Charlevoix showed a lot of heart, obviously playing a big Class A school, all except if he could play the tape back for those 2 minutes that the wheels kind of wobbled and maybe one of them fell off, where this game was tied with probably 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah, right about.
And just again, we talked about how things change so quickly. But the other thing I've been watching is a new rookie coach here. I've been pretty impressed with him. He's totally engaged, not afraid to let the refs know in a kind of nice sort of way that they missed a foul or one way or the other. So I've been pretty impressed with watching him work the sidelines there. And again, so far, very entertaining game. I'd like to be able to see Charlevoix. The thing that they're going to have to contend with and going into the third quarter, like you mentioned, is their two big stud starters are going to be out there. And they didn't seem to skip much of a beat there. Again, showing the strength of their bench a little bit there, like we mentioned at the end of the second half, or the end of first half. But, yeah, I don't think Charlevoix, I'm pretty impressed so far with the opening night.
Yeah, Charles.
Well, you know, Dennis, that's a great point, is what you were saying. Shane, great point as well. I know we kind of have concluded what we might see, what we have seen so far. My biggest takeaway from the first half of that game was really the offense that Gaylord was able to produce and get over their foul trouble problems. For the Raiders, it was being to see freshman Gaffney come into the game and not be intimidated by a varsity moment or a varsity atmosphere. Now, with that being said, from both instances, if you were shaping this up from one coaching standpoint to the other coaching standpoint, or from one fan perspective to another fan's perspective, you would probably like your position better if you were a Blue Devil fan right now, because you had two of your starters, two of your projected leading scorers sit on the bench for most of that second quarter, and you got sizable contributions and actually extended this lead to 13 points. For Charlevoix, I think now that it's pretty clear, you know, that the pecking order is going to flow offensively. I liked what Charlevoix was able to do against that 2-3 zone defense. We'll see if Gaylord stays with that defense, though, now that they have their full arsenal of players back in the third quarter. So interesting to see what the coaching changes will be from each coach and the chess game that the coaches are going to be playing in the second half of this game.
Yeah, looking around the gym here tonight to see Mr. and Mrs. Vollmer, Stairs are here. A few parents made the trip over from Charlevoix to watch your kids. I saw Larry Lovengood over there on the far side with Doc Joy wearing that Michigan hat.
Yeah.
If that's enough said. And here we go with the second half.
So Gaylord will have the ball to begin the second half, up 36-23. Keep an eye out for Pretzlaff as well as Gilo. Both are in foul trouble, so their time may be limited here in this game unless they can clean up their act. And Gaylord right away loses possession there. Charlevoix will have it back after only 10 seconds.
Yeah, turnover for Gaylord on a pass in.
High flyer up to Nickel. Now back to Joe Gaffney, looking for an opportunity to get some quick points up on the board. Badly needed indeed.
Yeah, so it'd make him a freshman. He probably would be, what, 15 years old?
Yes, yep.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, he could be even as young as 14.
You wouldn't know it looking at him. A lot of confidence. He got some great moves with the ball. You're watching him dribble out there?
Mm-hmm. So with that, Ryan Pearl gets his third foul of the night. Team's first so far this half, as Enders drives his way in there and gets a very contested bucket. He has 20 points now of the Gaylord Blue Devil 38. Joe Gaffney, the leading scorer for Charlevoix, has 12.
They call a kick?
Yep, he called a kick. So Raiders were able to luckily escape out of that one.
You know, Gaffney probably destined for the point guard spot once he gets a little bit more sand in his pocket, so to speak, experience-wise.
Troy Nickel able to float one up and in.
Nice move up the alley.
Yeah, he's got 8 points of his own tonight. Enders once again with the ball, loses it. Lamarauda able to gather it back, not before Charlevoix gets to it, and Charlevoix will get the possession.
Coach Izzo for the Sparties likes it when his guys roll around there on the floor, show that kind of motivation and intensity. So we saw it just there from the Raiders.
Raiders still down 13 points, 38-25.
Like a travel.
Yep. That was not what we needed at this very point in time in this game.
Yeah, you can't let that lead get much bigger than it is right now.
No.
It would not bode well for the fourth quarter.
Lamorato shovels it over to Gilo, and Max Dixon able to take it away. Gives it to Gaffney, and he puts 2 on the board.
Back to 11 points. 6 minutes to go here in the third.
Raiders slowly but surely chipping away at it. Lamorato nearly loses control of the ball again, gets it back to Gilo. He'll put 2 up, no good. Gaylord gets 3 chances there. None of them fall in. And Nichols able to get it back for the Raiders.
There's no give up in a Raider.
Nope. We have seen that time and time again so far this evening. Joe Gaffney will put 3 up just short. And number 11, Aiden Fox, gets it back for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, maybe if I had him, I'd kind of dial back on the 3-point tries. He's went pretty cold.
Yeah.
And the Charlevoix needs some possessions here where they score.
Charlevoix comes away with it after 3 players hit the floor. Max Dixon finally gets to Joe Gaffney. He'll drive it in and gets 2.
And can show some confidence.
He now has 16 points on the evening. No troubles here so far. Rice drives it in, knocks over.
But he picked it up. So, Shane.
Yeah.
How many Gaffney boys are there?
There's 2, and then there's an older sister, Ella Gaffney, who graduated, well, let's see, 3 years before Jack Gaffney, who graduated last year, so now 4 years ago.
So the other Gaffney who scored the game-winning basket last year.
That was senior Jack Gaffney.
Okay.
Yep.
So this Gaffney's older brother.
Yep.
Who was in your class.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Enders got his first free throw point in. Doesn't make the second. Back to a 10-point game.
No, that was a Charlevoix ball. That looked like Charlevoix ball. I'd like to see that one again.
Rebound high, flying up to Lamorato. He'll take it all the way back in Raider territory. Working against Joe Gaffney.
10-point game.
And Max Dixon gets that foul. You can't be too grabby like that.
You cannot play defense from that side of the ball. He knew it.
So did Coach Troshak. He wasn't too thrilled. So that'll be Max Dixon's second foul of the night. Team's third this half.
Yeah.
And Lamorato puts up 3 of his own.
That kills you. You get the foul called on you, one of your better players, and then he comes right back and scores 2. That's like a double whammy.
Now back to a 12-point game. 41-29 is the score.
Gaylord in that 2-3 zone, almost a 2-1-2 zone with their big guy in the middle. Kind of switch back and forth. I'd have that big kid in the middle.
Raiders looking for something to shoot here. Patrick Sterrett gets it over to Pearl. Joe Gaffney nearly loses it. Able to gather it back up. 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
You got to keep swinging that ball around or start hitting from the outside.
Hey-hoo. Gaffney gets 3 more on the board.
Right on cue there.
That was well needed after slipping that lead a little, or excuse me, that comeback a little bit. Now back to a 9-point game, 41-32. Gaylord tries for 3 more. They get it back in.
Well, he's their shooter. You can't let him out there by himself like that. He's going to kill you.
That was Luke Gilo. He now has 9 points of his own.
You got to have somebody in his face.
Sterrett to Vollmer. Vollmer didn't like that look. Batted away by Gaylord. Yeah, number 3, Aiden Locker comes back in for Gaylord.
Gave him some good minutes in the first half.
Yep. And Bryce Johnson comes in for the Raiders.
First time we've seen him tonight?
I think he's in for a little bit early in the first half, but let's see if he can't make some good contributions now that he's back in a second time. Peyton Scott didn't like that shot. Holds on to it. Gets it over to Vollmer. And Gaylord foul.
Yeah, he got whacked upside the head.
See him wiping his cheek off there a little bit. That was a pretty good hit.
That's going to leave a mark for tomorrow morning. He caught one right in the cheek.
You can see he got into a good battle in basketball.
That's 4 fouls on number, man, it shows 4 for a second. Must be wrong in the count. They took it down pretty quick.
Patrick Sterrett shovels it off to Vollmer. Now back to Gaffney. He loses it. And
Travel.
that'll be a turnover. Yep.
At least travel, up, not over and back. Take your pick. I think this is a critical point in the game for Charlevoix. They can't afford to let Gaylord, as the clock starts to tick around here, get any farther out ahead. They got to get some big defensive stops and start making some buckets, not necessarily threes, but they got to start making some net gains here pretty quick.
Aiden Locker meeting all he could handle there, shovels it off to, Enders. And there's a foul on Charlevoix.
Looks like Sterrett might have got it.
Yep. It's his first. Team's fourth so far this half. At least for the most part, our big players, Sterrett and Gaffney, keeping out of foul trouble for the moment. And Enders, I tell you what, he'll let you know when you're screwing up.
As it goes in life. Nothing wrong with that.
He is almost 100% on his free throws. I only recall him missing 1 or 2, as that brings his tally up to 23 points on the evening of the Blue Devil 46. Back to a 14-point differential, 46-32, 2 minutes and a half to go here in the third quarter, as 24 Brady Pretzleff comes away with it for the Blue Devils. Locker shoots from 3 and gets it.
Man, he's been good off the bench, that Locker.
Yeah. And he has 8 points of his own this evening. Great bench contributors. Gaffney fires from way downtown. No good. Charlotte able to come up with it, but no good on the second attempt.
Well, he thought he was fouled. Didn't get the call, though, so that means it didn't happen.
Lamorato playing around there with Bryce Johnson. Now Peyton Scott. Shuffle it back over to Enders. Give them a moment to recoup.
Be careful here now, guys. Need to stop. Their big guys have been kind of quiet so far here in the second half.
Yeah, probably don't want to incur any more fouls if they can help it.
Like a push-off there.
Yeah, Enders missed a rare three-point there. But number 13, William Bethoy, comes right back with it.
Again, another bench player.
That lead slipping away. 20 points now, 52-32.
Yeah, that's an oucher.
Charlevoix in do-or-die territory at the moment with just under minute 15 to go. Patrick Sterrett able to put 3 of his own on the board.
Timeout on the floor. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that. Charles, do you know what happened?
Say again?
What happened out there?
So that was a delay of game warning. So essentially what they do is after the ball goes through the net, the team that just made the shot can't touch the ball. It basically limits the time that it takes to inbound the ball and thus limit the opportunity for the team possessing the ball to have the opportunity to go advance it.
Okay. Missed shot there by Bethoy. Another one put up. That was off of Enders once again. He missed that one.
You know, one of the biggest things that I've noticed about the Blue Devils here in the third quarter, fellas, is that they had 12 total team fouls in the first half, only 2 here in the third quarter. So whatever was said at halftime, Coach Napon got those guys to realize that you can't foul.
But nevertheless, number 3, Brady Pretzleff, encouraged his third foul, so in all likelihood he'll be taking a seat on the bench soon.
Travel.
Yep. Raiders escaped a lucky.
That was an NBA layup.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So we apologize there on the missed score read. The scoreboard just updated on Gaylord's end. The score is 52-35. Charles had it right the whole time. Gaylord did not. And a double dribble on Charlevoix.
Charlevoix needs to stop here, putting full court pressure on Gaylord. See if that gets them the ball back here with only 14 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Ball across the half-court line. That's Halscher. Gets it in there, and jump ball.
Looked like Peyton Scott snuffed out Petzlaff.
Yeah. And we've got a timeout, Gaylord.
That would kind of ding your self-concept there.
It's going to be interesting to see here what Gaylord draws up out of this. It's going to be a baseline out-of-bounds play. So, as a former coach myself, these are all the things that you want to see other coaches do. What do you do with 2 seconds on the clock? What do you do with 8 seconds on the clock? What's your baseline out-of-bounds or your blob play? And in these types of instances, 2 seconds, you're drawing up a play that's going to get you open, in-rhythm shot within basically a half second of catching the ball. So let's see what Gaylord has drawn up here. You might see Charlevoix go to a zone defense here too to kind of thwart what play might have been drawn up.
And with that, third quarter comes to an end with your score 52-35, Gaylord over Charlevoix.
Hello, I'm Ryan Beningo, but you might know me for my business, Professional Seamless Gutters, where we specialize in, you guessed it, everything gutters. New installation, replacements, cleaning, leaf guards, rain chains, and much more. But unlike many service providers, when you call Professional Seamless Gutters, you get me, Orion, not some bum intern or call center recording. So when you're contemplating any services regarding the gutters on your home or pole barn, think Professional Seamless Gutters.
And here we are, just about ready to come out of the third quarter break. The Gaylord Blue Devils up over Charlevoix 52-35. Charlevoix has 8 final minutes to try and put something together to catch up and possibly surpass Gaylord. But they're proving to be all they can handle. The biggest deficit Charlevoix's come out of so far is 7 points. And Gaylord just has been able to make nearly every opportunity count when Charlevoix turns the ball over. So we'll see if Charlevoix can't clean that up. The foul count has been fairly low on both sides in this half, but the turnovers have not. Joe Gabney gets the ball over to Vollmer. Vollmer in the corner, back over to Nickel, tipped away by Lamorato. And Pretzleff gets it over to number 3, Lockhart. And he's able to get 3 more on the board.
That was a dagger right there. 20-point Gaylord lead, fourth quarter. Awful tough to come back from that.
Nickel has the ball at the moment, top of the arc, looking for someone to get it off to. Nearly loses the ball, gets it off to Nate Claflin. He was able to get it up and in. And just like that, Luke Gilo stops up and puts 3 more on the board.
He gets too many easy looks from out there. He's the shooter. You always guard the shooter, no matter where they're at. And he's been giving you examples of why that is.
Yeah, it's just I mean, you look at the three-point shooting, it's not that the Blue Devils aren't taking bad shots. These are shots that they're walking into in rhythm, uncontested, open three-pointers. And to their credit, they're knocking them down. And we've kind of seen this three-point onslaught, you know, very like Golden State Warrior-esque. I mean, it all kind of started with the play in the second quarter when both Pretzloff and Gilo went to the bench. Enders came in, and he was blazing hot. What do you say, Dennis? He was hot as a pistol. And
$2
he was
pistol.
shooting it because when he got in there, he had 12 points in the second quarter. He has another 12 points here in the third quarter, so his point total is up to 24. And he's been the straw that's been stirring the drink for the Blue Devils so well. And so far, the Raiders just haven't had an answer to that kind of firepower.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Charles. You know, your good shooters shoot in a rhythm, and you've somehow got to disrupt that rhythm on defense. And they, like you mentioned, he's been walking into that three-point shot in a rhythm, and once you get in that groove for a guy like that, it's hard to get him out of it. Unless you're living in his gym shorts, you got to be that close.
Patrick Sterrett tried to put up three, no good. Max Dixon comes away with it. Mess of bodies on the floor. Charlevoix still has possession as Bryce Johnson takes it and dishes it off to Claflin.
But you got to love that action. You got to love getting down on the floor and going after the ball.
Eric Arlt makes his first shot of the night, just a hair long. Still 58-35 game. And Arlt comes away with it for the Raiders. Pearl shovels it over to Johnson. He gets knocked in the face, and that'll be a foul. That should go without saying, I suppose.
Yeah, that was a foul. You can see that from Joburg.
Yeah.
Right down the road here.
So that was against number 4, Owen Smith, his first.
First time we've called his name tonight, I think.
Yep. Team's third this half. Bryce Johnson misses his first free throw attempt.
You know, I think if there is a silver lining in this cloud over in Gaylord for Charlevoix is they get to see what some good competition looks like and maybe where they need to improve and what they need to work on.
No doubt about it. Max Dixon comes up with the rebound after the free throw to no avail, as then he gets the foul called.
Yeah.
At the very least, it allows them to sharpen up their axe to chop down the next opponent here coming up next week.
What do we got with them next week?
I can't remember right offhand, but I know it's a full week gap between when they play now. They don't play again until the 16th, I believe it is. So they get a full week to learn from this game, move on, and come back swinging next time. It's a missed shot there by Gaylord. Eric Arlt powering up the court now.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how you play the game.
Draw
Force
that
their
foul.
hand.
Yep.
You know, when the defense is moving like that, when their feet aren't set and you've got the ball, man, just go at them. Just go at them.
Beautiful form there from Sterrett. Raiders down 58-36, just under 6 minutes to go here in the game.
Boy, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You think back on the end of that second quarter.
Yep. Really, it was just 2 turnovers and 2 three-pointers that changed the whole effect of this game. As Lamorato goes up and gets 3 more on the board.
Man, that kid's hot too tonight.
And that was Walker, or Locker.
Thank you, Charles. Get another correction on my evening tonight. It's tough seeing those numbers. That was actually number 3, Aiden Locker, that made the extra 3 there.
That's okay, Sean. We all make mistakes.
Okay, Don. Oh, boy, here we go.
Here.
Yep. At that point, I almost don't know why they'd even go for it. It's so far gone. I mean, yeah, it's just.
Maybe practice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been dinged over there by somebody and have to chase it down.
Yeah.
5:13 here to go in this ball game. 61-36, Gaylord Blue Devils.
Gilo has the ball, shovels it over. Gaylord just passing around at the moment. This time he'll try for a long three, falls short. Charlevoix able to come away with it as Nickel works it back across the half-court line. Joe Gaffney puts up for three. I could tell from here the moment he let it go, it wasn't going to make it in.
Yeah, you know, he hit a couple and then he went 0 for like what, 6, 7?
Just about, yeah.
I think somewhere you gotta rein him in a little bit.
I mean, for his part, he's got 19 points on the evening tonight. It's no slouch of a performance from him.
Yeah, hard to argue with 19 points, but you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
Yeah. And know when to walk away and maybe when to run, too. You never know.
Exactly.
As Pearl has the ball, gets it back over to Nickel, back to Gaffney. He'll try for another way downtown three. Gets it in, though.
He heard me talking about him.
Yeah.
I show you, Helverson. You don't know what you're talking about. I can hit from out here.
If there was a 4-point shot, he's made a couple of those tonight. Yeah. Gilo working it into the paint, and it falls in.
I think he's player of the game.
He's right up there, that's for sure. Charlevoix just playing a little shoot your shot there with the three-pointers. Both of those attempts by Patrick Sterrett fall short.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch.
Something certain point to his left arm there. Oh, my gracious, did you see that?
I did. I looked up just in time to see that get popped back into place.
Oh, man.
Maybe it's not popped back into place yet.
No, that was not pretty.
No, that was not.
Hope there weren't any kids watching.
Yeah, well, there's plenty here in the crowd, that's for sure.
Ouch.
Yeah. Charlevoix, speaking of out, Charlevoix loses it yet again. And Locker makes him pay. Well, Charlevoix is trying those threes, that's for sure. Not exactly the greatest success. Imagine if they even went for 2 points on half of those three-point tries. This game could be at least within 15 to 16 points instead of down 27, 66-39.
Well, like my grandma always used to tell me, live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot. And Charlevoix shooting percentage, especially with those threes, has been nothing to write home about tonight.
No. Nathan Graham did come with two. A long 2-point there by Joe Gaffney falls short. And the putback, Charlevoix does not go in either. Score is now 67-39.
Shift change.
Yeah, might as well.
We've got guys out there who don't even have their number in here.
Johnson with the inbound to Watkins, over to Scott, now Vollmer. Johnson back to Scott. He'll work it into the paint, a little alley-oop, no good. He'll get his own rebound.
Yeah.
Back over to Watkins. Now to Johnson, he's taking a moment. Scott will try for a long three, no good. Seems to be the theme of this evening, at least in the second half.
Well, I think they're settling. They're just settling for those threes. I don't know if they just aren't thinking they can break that zone up or what, but you try not to settle for things. You try to work your schemes.
You can tell they just don't have the same energy that they did back in that second quarter. They're firing from all cylinders. It wasn't just the 3 points. They were working their way in there, even against the starters here of Gaylord, and getting those tough to get 2 points as well. And just have not been seeing that same productivity. We had 22 points in the first half, if I recall correctly. And since then, we've only gone up to 39. So a total of 17 points so far in this half.
They could throw some theories out there. You know, football's played in like 5 or 6 second increments, and then you stop, and then you rest, and then you play another 5 or 6 seconds. Where basketball is pretty much nonstop. So first game there tonight could be a little bit of that. The other thing is Charlevoix has not went to the bench much, where Gaylord has. So again, when you're playing that same maybe 6 guys for Charlevoix, playing against a team that's routinely subbing, that's going to take a toll eventually as well.
Well, here we go. Charles
Well, yeah, we just want to thank one more opportunity to thank one of our primary sponsors tonight. That's Cat Development, located in Gaylord, but also having a large influence in communities surrounding northern Michigan, Boyne City, Charlevoix, and, of course, Gaylord. Sheboygan as well. That's Cat Development being sponsor for tonight's game. Thank you, Cat Development, for helping bring this game to everyone watching from home.
So the girls had good sportsmanship earlier, not worrying about throwing too many points on the board, but I do see they've got Enders back in. So maybe some unnecessary points scored from Gaylord's end, but Vollmer does put 2 of his own up there, his first 2 of the night.
Well, the other one that isn't in there, surprisingly, is their big guy, Pretzlaff.
Yeah.
He has been non-existent here in the second half.
Well, he does have 3 fouls, so the coach probably figured, well, we'll just keep him safe and play him next time.
You know, for as aggressive as he was most of that first quarter, found himself in foul trouble, he kind of rode silently into the sunset, never to be seen again much here in the game.
Enders misses a rare free throw opportunity there. Raiders will get it back. Minute 52 here in the game. Score is still 67-41. Enders, we'll give him plenty of credit. He's got 23 of his own points. And Joe Gaffney has 22 on his respective team. Vollmer fires over to Bryce Johnson. He'll try for another 3, long this time. Claflin fires it back into Vollmer.
Yeah, number 42 there, that was an easy call again. Nathan Graham, one of their seniors.
So that'll be his second, team's 5th this half. Yeah, it's Peyton Scott, gets it back across the half-court line, minute and 30 to go. Eric Arlt puts it up for 2, and it falls in. 67-43. Missed layup there by Gaylord. Able to get the rebound. Not before
Whoa.
Max Dixon tries to get it, and a bowling ball move there by
42
yeah,
there,
42,
Graham
yep,
again.
Graham.
There was nothing subtle about that foul.
No, he set him all the way into the student section. As Vollmer tries for 2, no good. Scott able to come away with it, though. Back over to Eric Arlt. He'll try for a 3. This will be long, way short. Not before Vollmer can gather it back up. No good there on the layup. Jump ball.
You can't
Gaylord
call
possession.
in there of Raiders. .3 ticks of the clock, and this will be a game in the books.
I don't know if these are books that Charlevoix wants to go back and look at too much, that's for sure.
I'd leave this book in East Jordan on the way back through.
Ryan Pearl does put up 2 more points, though. 67-45, 30 seconds to go. Charlevoix has it back. Peyton Scott working into the paint. Lobs up the ball, no good.
Kind of fearless making the drive, but I think I would have kicked that one back out.
Yep.
Doesn't have the size to take on three Gaylord Blue Devils right there down in the paint. Gaylord's going to assault this one away.
Well, no, it's a good learning experience for the Raiders, good learning experience for the Blue Devils as well. I think the difference in this game just came down to the shooting of the Blue Devils and the strength and numbers that the Blue Devils had and possessed in that second quarter when they needed to go to their bench to get a big boost, and they did that. So, I mean, that's really what I would point to this game, you know, the depth that the Blue Devils had. Charlevoix did some good things, ran some good sets, got to clean up those turnovers.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit too many turnovers for touchdowns of the Raiders, and some of those were unforced errors as well. Look for both teams to be able to, you know, obviously improve upon this performance and move forward. Obviously, it's the first game of the year, so there's a lot of things that these teams are going to be able to get better at, and turnovers, being able to play with the other players on the floor that you have and establish that chemistry. That's what comes along with, practice, especially over Christmas break. So for everyone watching at home tonight, we thank you for tuning in. This has been a Next Level Broadcasting production from myself, Shane Smith, Dennis Halverson, our friend Johnny Burkhart, running the camera from our Gaylord located crew. This has been a Next Level Broadcasting production. As I said, Charles Strail signing off. We'll be back Gaylord Friday night versus Cadillac, Charlevoix Friday night. And that game will be on Raider Athletics for the Charlevoix game, Next Level Broadcasting for the Gaylord game. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. Have a great night. Charlevoix will be home versus Kalkaska. Thank you. Have a great night.
It's away.